Pokémon, the ultimate trainer. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 101, Getaway. Haha, our organization can do whatever it wants. Do we need your alliance's approval? Whitebird said disdainfully. Within the jurisdiction of our alliance, we must follow our rules. Our organization is really hopeless. The law enforcement officer shook his head and released his elves directly. He knew that there was no way to reason with these people from the R organization, and he could only speak with his fists. Windspeed Dog, prepare for battle. A red light shot out, and a tall and mighty Windspeed Dog appeared in front of him. As soon as the Windspeed Dog appeared, it roared at the dream-inducing taper. Affected by the roar of the Windspeed Dog, the dream-inducing taper retreated in fear. This Windspeed Dog has the intimidation characteristic, and as soon as it appeared, it directly reduced the attack power of the dream-inducing taper. Looking at the Windspeed Dog that appeared, Zhang Cheng hurriedly checked its situation. If the Windspeed Dog's level was not as high as the dream-inducing taper, Zhang Cheng planned to slip away in advance. Name, Windy Dog, level 32, gender, male qualification, B attribute, fire-carrying props, charcoal. Carrying it will enhance the power of the Pokémon's fire attribute skills. Basic skills, bite, roar, sparks, glare, smell detection, flame wheel, resurrection, flame fang, ram, high-speed movement, flame splashing learning skills, will-o-wisp, charged flame attack inherited skills, flame vortex, hot wind characteristics, intimidation, appearances to intimidate the opponent, make it retreat, and reduce the opponent's attack. Notes, Windy Dog, a legendary Pokémon, has a roar full of majesty, and runs as fast as flying. After reading the information of Windy Dog, Zhang Cheng finally lost his sense of crisis. The strength of this law enforcement officer is very strong. Windy Dog has reached level 32. There is not much pressure to deal with the dream-inducing tapers of the R organization. Windspeed, flame wheel, a Windspeed roared, and a large amount of fire energy surrounded its body. It used its hind legs to directly hit the Dream Taper with flames all over its body. Dream Taper, Headbutt Attack, Suri. The Dream Taper directly condensed energy on its head and used its Headbutt Attack. The two elves collided with each other, and a large amount of smoke and dust was emitted from the collision point. Then both sides were repelled. Windspeed took 3 steps back and stabilized its body. On the other hand, Dream Taper took more than 10 steps back before it stopped. In the first fight between the two sides, Windspeed had a slight advantage. Dream Taper, Illusion Beam, Windspeed, Flame Splash. After a close collision, the two sides now launched a long-range attack. Suri. Dream Taper gathered a large amount of psychic energy, and waves of light flew out in exchange for energy. Windy Dog was not to be outdone, and a large amount of fire attribute energy spewed out of its mouth. The attacks of both sides collided with each other, and in the end, Windy Dog's Flame Splash was superior. After shattering the Illusion Beam, the remaining flames flew towards the Dream Taper. Dream Taper, Hold, Flame Splash was directly blocked by the Dream Taper's Hold skill. Let me see how you block it after your use Hold. Windy Dog, Ram Attack, Ouch. After hearing the trainer's command, Windy Dog quickly ran up, using inertia to increase the power of the ram. After the Dream Taper used Hold, it had no other means of defense, and was directly knocked away and smashed onto the wall behind the mountain. Windy Dog also suffered some minor injuries due to the backlash effect of the ram, but compared to the damage suffered by the Dream Taper, this was insignificant. I think you should just surrender. The Alliance will treat everyone who has reformed well. The law enforcement officers tried to break through their psychological defenses when they were in trouble. Hearing this, Whitebird laughed and said, "Put away your childish tricks. I won't fall for them. This is your last chance. Otherwise, you will die if we catch you." Arcane, move at high speed and bite. The law enforcement officers continued to attack while speaking. Seeing that his Dream Taper was no longer a match, Whitebird took out the Pokeball to take it back, and Arcane also rushed forward and missed. "You are good this time. I will remember you," Whitebird said while throwing another Pokeball, and a toucan came out of the Pokeball. After the toucan appeared, Whitebird and 2 of his men jumped onto the back of the Pokémon. "Don't try to escape." When the law enforcement officers saw the toucan, They realized that the R organization wanted to escape, and quickly let Arcane attack. Arcane, shoot down Toucan. Ouch! Arcane launched a flame splash at Toucan, hitting it directly on the back. After being hurt, Toucan began to shake violently in the air. The two members of the R organization lost their balance and fell to the ground because of the shaking of Toucan. Toucan, show your perseverance and hold on. Looking at the shaky Toucan, Whitebird shouted quickly. This Toucan was also very good. He endured great pain and flew away with his trainer. Seeing Whitebird running away, the law enforcement officer stopped attacking. He had no flying Pokémon and could not chase him. After Whitebird left, the law enforcement officer quickly found the two members of the R organization who fell from the sky, took out handcuffs and subdued them. Zhang Cheng looked at the miserable appearance of the two and couldn't help closing his eyes. The two fell from the sky without landing on their heads, so they saved their lives, but their legs were broken and they would most likely be disabled in the future. This R organization is not so easy to get involved with. If you are not careful, you may ruin your life. After the law enforcement officers restrained the two people and confirmed that there was no danger, they came to Zhang Cheng and said, "Classmate, are you not injured?" "No, thank you, it's a good thing you arrived in time, otherwise I'm afraid I would be in danger," Zhang Cheng said with gratitude. "You're welcome, this is our duty. I am a law enforcement officer responsible for the security of the Huangshan Mountains. You can call me Atai said enthusiastically. "Okay, brother Atai." After thinking for a while, Atai said, "It may not be safe around here now. You follow me back to the town first, it will be safer there." "Okay, I'll listen to you," Zhang Cheng said cooperatively. With Atai's protection, he doesn't have to worry about the possibility of encountering the R organization again. If he acts alone, it will be troublesome if he encounters a powerful member of the R organization halfway. Chapter 102 Battle Invitation. Zhang Cheng and Atai sat on the back of the wind speed bug, and the two rushed down the mountain. As for the two members of the R organization, Atai put them on the back of another elf of time, the unicorn. The four people and two beasts ran all the way and quickly left the Huangsha Mountains. After arriving at Huangsha Town, Atai took the two members of the R organization back to the Alliance. Zhang Cheng found a place to fill his stomach at random, and then took the elves back to the hotel. After arriving at the hotel, Zhang Cheng placed a fossil of the tentacle lily in a slightly hidden place at the foot of the bed. Now he couldn't revive the elf fossil, so he could only store it first and wait for a chance to revive it later. After doing all this, Zhang Cheng released all the elves and took out the energy cube to give them. After eating, Zhang Cheng gave the elves a bath again to clean the stains on their bodies. Zhang Cheng didn't plan to enter the Huangsha Mountains again in the near future. After the appearance of the R organization, the Alliance will definitely strengthen the guard of the Huangsha Mountains, waiting for law enforcement personnel to eliminate all the R organizations in the Huangsha Mountains, and then enter it to train. Zhang Cheng also took advantage of this time to train the elf skill proficiency and improve the elf skill proficiency. By that time, the Huangsha Mountains will be almost safe, and then we will continue to enter the Huangsha Mountains to find wild elves to fight. After confirming the plan, Zhang Cheng no longer thought about it and took a hot bath to relax. Then he lay on the bed and brushed his phone for a while before taking a rest. The next morning, Zhang Cheng took the elves to find a large open space near the town for training. There is an open plain area in the north of the town, and Zhang Cheng decided to set the training location here in the future. After a simple breakfast, Zhang Cheng released the elves and started a day of training. The four elves are also very motivated and work very hard during training. Pidgeot also began to learn the feather roosting skills. After mastering the feather roosting skills, it has a good effect on the recovery of his injuries. Mosquito Frog continues to strengthen the practice of waterfall climbing skills to improve the attack strength of his skills. Mila practiced the 100,000 volts he had just learned. After Mila mastered the 100,000 volts, Zhang Cheng asked it to learn thunder. Shuaiwai was now very proficient in his skills, so Zhang Cheng also took out the poisonous skill learning machine and gave it to Shuaiwai to learn. In the next week, Zhang Cheng lived a 3.1 line life every day, repeating the 3 places of training: ground, restaurant, and hotel. After a week of training, the skills of the elves have been mastered very well, and what they lack now is practical experience. Thinking of this, Zhang Cheng also planned to enter the Huangsha Mountains, but he couldn't enter rashly now. He should first inquire about the situation of the RR organization and confirm safety before taking action. Although he had the mother-child pendant given by Yuling, he would not fall into a situation where he must die. But he couldn't relax his vigilance because of this. The mother-child pendant can only be used as a last resort. A new day, Zhang Cheng continued to come to the empty field outside the town to train the elves. When he arrived here today, Zhang Cheng found that a teenager was already training here. Zhang Cheng had never seen anyone else here before, and the sudden appearance of the young trainer also surprised Zhang Cheng. When the young trainer saw Zhang Cheng appear, he took the initiative to greet him. "Hello, my name is Zhu Wen, and I am a trainer in this town." "Hello, my name is Zhang Cheng, and I am a trainer who came from Jiangcheng to gain experience." Seeing that the other party was very enthusiastic, Zhang Cheng replied politely. "Is that so? No wonder I haven't seen you before. I have lived in the town for more than 10 years and basically know all the permanent residents," Zhu Wen said with a little surprise. Zhang Cheng nodded and said, "I just arrived in the town, and I have been coming to this open space to train Pokémon recently." "Is that so? I was also looking for a training ground for the Pokémon, and finally came here." Zhu Wen suddenly thought of something, and then took the initiative to invite Zhang Cheng. "Let's have a friendly match, which is also a good opportunity to exercise the Pokémon's actual combat ability." Zhu Wen really wanted to compete with other trainers, because there were relatively few trainers in the town, and he rarely found a suitable opponent. "No problem," Zhang Cheng directly agreed to Zhu Wen. After the recent training, the elves have become familiar with their skills. If the Yellow Sand Mountains were not unsafe, Zhang Cheng would have gone to fight wild elves. Seeing Zhang Cheng's straightforward agreement, Zhu Wen was also very happy. "Then let's have a 3v3 battle. Both sides can send out 3 elves to fight. The battle is over when all the elves on one side lose their combat ability." Zhu Wen introduced the rules of the battle, and then directly released his first elf, Dudu. "I think it's you." Seeing that the elf Zhu Wen sent out was a flying-type Dudu, Zhang Cheng also let Pidgeot fight. "Come out, Pidgeot." Zhang Cheng planned to have a flying-type duel. Both sides released their Pokémons, and the battle was about to begin. Zhang Cheng quickly checked the information of this Dudu. Name, Dudu, level 15, gender, female, qualification, C attributes, general, flying, carried props, none, basic skills, call, peck, flash, anger, random attack, chase and attack, learning skills, swallow, return, shadow clone, inherited skills, reckless, parrot characteristics, early wake up. Even if it goes into sleep state, it can wake up very quickly. Notes, Dudu, a 2-headed bird Pokémon, runs faster than it flies, and its best ability is running rather than flying. From the data point of view, Dudu and Pidgeot are equally strong. Seeing Zhang Cheng send out Pidgeot, Zhu Wen said excitedly, "Come on, let's have a flying showdown." Dudu, flash, Dudu Dudu. Hearing the trainer's command, Dudu directly charged at Pidgeot, and the flash skill was activated. Seeing Dudu rushing towards him, Pidgeot chose to fly high in the sky to avoid Dudu's attack. Pidgeot discovered that Dudu had no wings, and it thought that Dudu's attack could not hit it. Zhang Cheng looked at Pidgeot's move and did not stop it, because he also wanted to use this opportunity to test the jumping ability of this Dudu. If the opponent can't even deal with Pidgeot at this height, then the next battle will be a mindless kite. On the other hand, even if it is hit by Dudu's lightning attack, it will not lose too much health points. The initial fight between the two sides will only be a tentative attack. Chapter 103, Flying Confrontation. However, Dudu did not disappoint Zhang Cheng. He jumped into the sky and came to Pidgeot. He launched a lightning attack and knocked Pidgeot out with his whole body. It seems that it is not possible to use the advantage of flying. Although Dudu can't fly, his jumping ability is no worse than flying. Zhang Cheng had to fight head-on. "Pidgeot, use steel wings." Beep beep. Pidgeot was very angry after being attacked. He immediately launched an attack after hearing the trainer's command. A large amount of steel energy gathered on Pidgeot's wings, turning Pidgeot's wings into steel. After condensing the energy, Pidgeot directly waved its wings and attacked Dudu. Seeing the opponent's Pidgeot attack, Zhu Wen did not dare to be careless and asked Dudu to quickly counterattack. "Dudu, use swallow return." Beep. Dudu quickly condensed the flying energy and collided with Pidgeot's steel wings. The two sides' skills came into contact, and they were in a stalemate for a moment. In the end, Pidgeot's attack was better, breaking through Dudu's swallow return, flapping its wings and hitting Dudu's body directly. Dudu also cried out in pain after being attacked by Steel Wing. and it was obviously seriously injured. Seeing that his Doodoo fell into disadvantage so quickly, Zhiwen was a little anxious. Doodoo, cheer up, use high-speed movement to get close and then launch a random attack. Doodoo. A large amount of psychic energy appeared on Doodoo's body, and it directly split into 3 identical figures, and then launched attacks from different directions. When watching the opponent's shadow clones, Pidgeot was also a little at a loss, unable to tell which one was the real Doodoo. Pidgeot calmed down, wait for Doodoo to get close, and then use the hold skill. Zhang Cheng immediately issued a response order. With a command of the trainer, Pidgeot was no longer panicked. After stabilizing its position, it used the hold skill to form a transparent barrier around it. Doodoo launched a random attack skill and directly pecked at Pidgeot with his beak. But just as he approached Pidgeot, Doodoo's beak hit a barrier directly, and the attack failed. Doodoo's sharp beak was also hurt. Pidgeot used the air blade to counterattack. After seeing that Doodoo's attack was resolved, Zhang Cheng directly seized the opportunity to launch a counterattack. Beep! Pidgeot felt very frustrated because of the continuous defense. Now that there was an opportunity to counterattack, Pidgeot immediately condensed energy into a sharp blade and flew towards Doodoo. Doodoo saw the air blade flying and quickly dodged it by jumping. After the blessing of high-speed movement, Doodoo's speed became a bit terrifying, and Pidgeot's attack was also directly dodged. Doodoo, good job. We can also use pecking to attack. Zhiwen commanded Doodoo to attack again. Doodoo stretched his neck and rushed towards Pidgeot with his sharp beak as a sharp weapon. Pippy Bird, let's use the tornado to force Doodoo back. This time Zhang Cheng did not choose to fight head-on, but tried to stop Doodoo with a long-range attack. Beep! Pippy Bird also knew that the opponent was very difficult to deal with, and could not afford to underestimate the enemy. It quickly condensed a tornado and blew it towards Doodoo, who was rushing towards it. Doodoo was immediately trapped in the tornado, and directly lost the point of force. He also fell to the ground and was seriously injured again. The current situation is not optimistic for Doodoo. Seeing that Doodoo's attack was resolved again, Zhiwen's face was also very solemn, and he was thinking about the next countermeasures. However, Zhang Cheng would not give him too much time. After the attack was successful, he continued to attack, not giving Zhiwen any breathing time. Pippy Bird, let them also see the flash of lightning. Beep beep. Pippy Bird thought that he was hit by Doodoo's flash of lightning at the beginning, and suddenly felt very unhappy, and launched an attack more quickly. Pidgeot used inertia to fall down quickly, and its entire body directly hit the back of Doodoo. Doodoo, after being attacked again, Doodoo had another wound on his body. At the moment, Doodoo was already seriously injured and would soon lose his ability to fight. However, Zhiwen did not panic because he had his own backup plan, and now was the time to launch it. Zhiwen immediately shouted to Doodoo, now, Doodoo will use the lightning flash to attack at close range, and then use the reckless trick. Zhiwen was waiting for the moment when Pidgeot got close to him. At this time, the distance between the two elves was very close, and the hit rate of the skills would be greatly increased. It was impossible for Doodoo to beat the opponent's Pidgeot from the front, so Zhiwen chose to use his reckless trick to try to turn the defeat into victory. Zhang Cheng also knew Zhiwen's purpose. After all, he had checked Doodoo's situation in advance. Seeing Doodoo's last gamble, Zhang Cheng commanded, Pidgeot, quickly use the defense. Beep. Just as Pidgeot was about to use the defense, it was interrupted by Doodoo's lightning flash. Doodoo used the lightning flash with a blessing of high-speed movement, and the speed of the lightning flash was faster than before. Pidgeot was hit before it could react. After the lightning flash hit, Doodoo immediately followed up with a reckless attack, directly and accurately hitting Pidgeot. Looking at the scene in front of him, Zhang Cheng felt very familiar. He often used reckless attacks to make a comeback, but this time he seemed to be the one who was turned over. Zhang Cheng certainly couldn't allow this to happen. He took advantage of the gap after Doodoo's continuous attacks and paused, and then commanded Pidgeot to attack together. After Pidgeot was attacked by the reckless attack, its health value was the same as that of Doodoo, and it was on the verge of losing its combat ability. This attack will determine the result of the first Pokémon battle. If Doodoo can successfully dodge and then launch a counterattack, Pidgeot will lose its ability to fight. Similarly, if Doodoo fails to dodge this time, he will be defeated by Pidgeot and lose his ability to fight. Pidgeot, Lightning Flash. This time Zhang Cheng chose to attack with Lightning Flash again, because it is the fastest of all Pidgeot's special moves. Now both elves are only left with their last breath. At this time, the intensity of the attack is not so important. The most important thing is speed. Now is the moment to race against time. BP Pidgeot has gained a lot of experience through fighting during this period of time. It knows that what is needed now is the speed of attack. Chapter 104, The Powerful Quintero. After Pidgeot simply gathered some energy, it quickly launched an attack, using inertia to fall and increase its attack speed to the maximum. Doodoo was also trying his best to retreat, trying to avoid this fatal blow. Unfortunately, Doodoo had used a lot of skills before, and his physical strength was severely depleted, so the speed of retreat was not ideal. In the end, he was directly hit by Pidgeot's lightning flash and lost his ability to fight on the spot. Although Doodoo lost, he also beat your Pidgeot to a very weak state. The current situation is not too bad for me, Zwen analyzed the current situation while taking back Doodoo. Your Pidgeot is very strong. Next, I will send out my capable general. Zwen threw the Pokeball in his hand with confidence. Quintero, start your performance. Seeing Zwen send out his second Pokemon, Zhang Cheng took back Pidgeot. Pidgeot is in a relatively poor state now, and continuing to fight will only be a waste, so Zhang Cheng decisively replaced the new Pokemon to fight. Since it was a power-type Quintero, he sent out the frog to fight hard. Frog, prepare for battle. Yobo. After the frog appeared, it looked at the opposite Quintero with a fierce look. Moo. Quintero was not to be outdone and stared at the frog. Zhang Cheng also opened the system to check the data of this Quintero. Name, Quintero. Level 16. Gender, male. Qualification, B. Attribute, general. Carrying props, none. Basic skills, impact, tail shaking, horn butt, rage, ghost face, chase. Learning skills, stomp, slender horn, rockfall. Inherited skills, none. Quintero race has no inherited skills. Characteristics, force. The additional effect of the move disappears, but the move can be used with higher power. Note, Quintero, a bull Pokemon, uses 3 tails to whip itself to use the impact move with great destructive power. This Quintero is probably Zwen's main Pokemon. Zhang Cheng has a certain understanding of it after reading Quintero's data. Quintero has no inherited skills, so Zwen also taught Quintero a lot of new skills through the skill learning machine. This Quintero is Zwen's key Pokemon, and the next battle may be very difficult to fight. Mosquito Frog, pray for rain. Zhang Cheng still follows the usual practice and uses the skill of praying for rain at the beginning of the battle. Yobo, the Mosquito Frog is now very skilled in the skill of praying for rain, and it condenses water elements to quickly form rainy weather in midair. Weather-type moves, Zwen said confidently, no matter what tricks you play, it's useless. My Quintero will defeat you in the simplest and crudest way. Quintero, use your best horn attack. Moo. Quintero quickly launched a charge, and the 2 big horns flashed with bright luster. As Quintero charged, the whole ground began to shake slightly. Seeing the might displayed by this move, Zhang Cheng dared not let the Mosquito Frog take it easily. Mosquito Frog, use the guard to stop Quintero. Yobo. The Mosquito Frog looked at the aggressive Quintero and did not dare to be careless. It quickly condensed a barrier in front of it. At the same time as the barrier was formed, Quintero's horn attack followed. This horn attack directly hit the barrier and produced violent fluctuations, and the barrier was directly covered with cracks. The power of this attack was so terrifying that it almost shattered the shield of the guard skill. How powerful was this? After taking Quintero's powerful attack, Zhang Cheng was ready to start counterattacking. The guard skill had been used, and it was no longer possible to continue defending. Attacking was the best defense. Mosquito Frog, use the waterfall attack. Yobo, the Mosquito Frog gathered a large amount of water element energy, using the characteristics of rainy weather to accelerate, and soon came in front of Quintero, and the whole body carried a huge amount of water element energy and crashed into Quintero. This powerful blow sent Quintero flying several meters away. After being blown away, Quintero quickly stood up and launched a horn attack on the Mosquito Frog again. Quintero's attack was indeed simple and crude, just rushing all the way, without any reason. After just using the waterfall climbing, the Mosquito Frog had consumed a lot of physical strength and had no time to dodge this horn attack. Quintero's 2 big horns directly hit the Mosquito Frog, and the Mosquito Frog was directly knocked more than 10 meters away by the horn attack, and fell all over the body. Looking at the power of Quintero's horn attack, Zhang Cheng immediately took a breath of cold air. He never thought that Quintero's attack power was so terrifying. How about it? You know how powerful my Quintero is. Any fancy things in front of it are useless. Zwen looked at Quintero and said with satisfaction. It seems that we can't fight this bull head-on. That will not benefit us at all. Zhang Cheng ignored Ziwen and muttered to himself. With the current state of frog, it can still take a horn attack. It has a certain margin of error, but it is not high. After a little hesitation, Zhang Cheng confirmed this strategy to deal with Quintero and directly commanded Frog to continue attacking. Frog, use another high-intensity waterfall attack. Yobo. Frog trusted its trainer very much, quickly gathered the power of water elements, and took the initiative to attack Quintero. Quintero, slender horn. Quintero used the steel-type horn skill to attack this time. A large amount of steel-type energy condensed on Quintero's double horns, and it collided with Frog with fierce force. Both sides suffered certain damage in this hard fight, but Quintero's situation was much better than Frog's. It's time. Frog used hypnosis. Frog had already prepared in advance, just waiting for Zhang Cheng's order, and a series of hypnotic sound waves flew towards Quintero. The Mosquito Frog and Zhang Cheng have been fighting side by side for so long that they have developed a strong tacit understanding. The Mosquito Frog also began to prepare for the launch of hypnosis early. The speed of the Mosquito Frog is very fast, and the hypnotic sound waves hit Quintero's head in an instant. After being hit by hypnosis, Quintero also fell into a sleeping state directly. Looking at the hypnotized Quintero, Ziwen felt a strong sense of uneasiness in his heart. Mosquito Frog, use the reckless action and then quickly use the Taishan Yading. Hearing the order issued by Zhang Cheng, Ziwen's uneasiness in his heart suddenly emerged. Chapter 105, Old Tricks Again. Ziwen didn't expect that the opponent's frog would also use reckless attack, which was exactly the same as his own doo-doo. Zhang Cheng thought of this move after discovering Quintero's irresistible attack power. The opponent didn't have a system, so it was impossible for him to know that Frog had inherited the skill of reckless attack. Yobo Frog also launched an attack at this time, and the reckless attack move directly injured Quintero, who was in a sleeping state. Both elves are now seriously injured. Then Frog used another move of Taishan Yading, and the whole body jumped into the air and fell, directly knocking Quintero, who had just woken up, unconscious. Quintero lost his ability to fight, and now Ziwen only had the last elf left. But Zhang Cheng didn't relax, because he was worried that Ziwen's last elf was at a high level and he couldn't deal with it. Although he has the advantage now, the status of Tadpole and Pidgeot is not very good. Melee is only level 10 at present, and it is still a little weak to fight. Seeing his Quintero being defeated, Ziwen's face was full of disbelief, and then he said with relief, I didn't expect that I would be defeated by a move I am familiar with. Next, I will take out my last Pokémon. While saying this, Ziwen took out his only remaining Pokémon. Come out, Slowpoke. Ziwen's last Pokémon is a Water-type and Psychic-type Slowpoke. Seeing that Ziwen sent out a Water-type Pokémon, Zhang Cheng felt that the situation had improved to a certain extent, which was more advantageous for the sheep. While thinking about these, Zhang Cheng opened the system to check the specific situation of Slowpoke. Name, Slowpoke, level 14, gender, male. Qualification, C. Attributes, water, psychic. Carrying items, none. Basic skills, impact, curse, yawn, call, water gun. Learning skills, psychic power. Inherited skills, snoring, mind hammer. Characteristics, inert. Because of its own inert senses, it will not fall into a state of fascination or provocation. Notes, Slowpoke, a silly Pokémon, is always in a daze, making it difficult to understand what it is thinking. It specializes in using its tail as bait for a fishing. The level of this Slowpoke is lower than the previous two, so that the chances of Melee Sheep winning will be much greater. However, Zhang Cheng did not plan to replace Melee Sheep now. He arranged to let Frog and Pidgeot to consume the state of Slowpoke as much as possible, and then let Melee Sheep do the finishing work. Yading. As soon as Slowpoke appeared, it stared straight ahead with a silly look. Zhang Cheng did not underestimate Slowpoke because of this. The seemingly stupid Slowpoke is actually a very powerful elf. Mosquito Frog, use hypnosis. Yobo. The Mosquito Frog dragged its tired body and quickly used hypnosis. A series of hypnotic sound waves came out of the mouth of the Mosquito Frog and flew towards Slowpoke. Seeing that the Mosquito Frog used hypnosis again, Ziwen quickly ordered Slowpoke to fight back. If it was hypnotized by the Mosquito Frog and then acted recklessly again, it would be a big loss. Slowpoke, use mental strength. Ziwen chose to use psychic skills to eliminate the Mosquito Frog first, which is also the most appropriate choice at present. Slowpoke itself is very bulky and slow in movement, and may not be able to avoid hypnosis. Choosing to bear the cost of sleep and eliminate the reckless Mosquito frog is the best solution. Adong, Slowpoke muttered in his mouth and sent out a powerful telekinesis. The twisted telekinesis formed a powerful attack energy, which directly hit the frog. Suffering from mental pain, Frog could not bear it and lost its fighting ability. At the same time, Frog's hypnosis also hit Slowpoke, and Slowpoke fell into a sleeping state. You have done very well, Frog. Zhang Cheng took back the frog that lost its fighting ability and released Pidgeot to continue the battle. Pidgeot, it's you. Pidgeot recovered a lot after a period of rest. Pidgeot, take advantage of the gap when Slowpoke is sleeping and use Feather Roost to recover from the injury. Pidgeot used the Feather Roost skill that he had just learned and began to slowly recover from the injury. What is different from the game is that the recovery skills in reality take a long time to use. In a fierce battle, the recovery moves will be interrupted by the opponent soon, and there is no way to bring a good healing effect to oneself. The best time to use recovery skills is during the gap when the opponent replaces the Pokémon or when the opponent's Pokémon falls into an abnormal state. The greatest use of the Feather Roost skill can actually be reflected in the field experience. In the high-intensity battle in the field, it is inevitable to be injured. In this case, with the existence of the Feather Roost skill, you can quickly recover your combat effectiveness and continue to fight. And now Zhang Cheng is also taking the opportunity of Slowpoke to sleep and let Pidgeot recover. After Pidgeot used Feather Roost once, it recovered nearly half of its injuries, and Slowpoke woke up. Slowpoke used the Mind Hammer attack. Zhuan saw Slowpoke wake up and quickly let it attack. If Pidgeot continues to use Feather Roost, it will be very disadvantageous to him. Yadan Slowpoke gathered a lot of psychic energy on its forehead, and then crashed into Pidgeot in midair. Although Slowpoke seemed to be demented, it was still very energetic when it moved, and it moved its 4 short legs to rush towards Pidgeot. Seeing Slowpoke rushing forward, Zhang Cheng commanded Pidgeot to fight head-on. As long as he could knock down Slowpoke's status and then send out Merely, he could easily win. Pidgeot used Tornado to counterattack. Zhang Cheng did not choose to let Pidgeot use Storm, because Pidgeot's proficiency in Storm was not that high at the moment. Even if the Storm skill was practiced to perfection, it would only have a hit rate of about 70%. The best way was to use it in rainy weather. The rainy weather created by Frog had just disappeared. The disappearance of the rainy weather was actually good news for Zhang Cheng, because the opponent's Slowpoke was a water-type Pokémon. If the rainy weather was still there, it would actually strengthen the opponent's Pokémon. After Pidgeot recovered from his injuries, he immediately ignited his fighting spirit and couldn't wait to launch an attack. A large amount of Dragon-type energy condensed into Purple Whirlwind. After the condensation was completed, Pidgeot flapped his wings and the tornado flew towards the oncoming Slowpoke. Slowpoke used the energy of its Mind Hammer to forcibly pass through the tornado attack and came in front of Pidgeot. Chapter 106, 100,000 volts. Passing through the tornado, Slowpoke also caused some damage to it. However, these injuries were within the acceptable range. As long as the Intention Hammer could hit Pidgeot, it would not be a loss. Slowpoke came to Pidgeot and launched an attack directly. Its forehead, which was full of psychic energy, hit Pidgeot. Pidgeot was directly knocked to the ground by this attack. Slowpoke seized the opportunity to use psychic power. Yadan Slowpoke heard the order from the trainer and began to gather psychic energy, forming a strong telekinetic attack on Pidgeot, which was still on the ground. Pidgeot stood up and flew into the sky, trying to avoid Slowpoke's attack. However, psychic telekinetic attacks are difficult to avoid. Pidgeot has tried its best to avoid them, but was eventually hit. Pidgeot's condition was already very bad after being attacked by a strong mental attack again. Looking at the situation in front of him, Zhang Cheng decided to take a gamble and let Pidgeot use a storm attack. Regardless of whether the storm hits or not, Slowpoke will be defeated. However, if the storm hits, it can deal a heavy blow to Slowpoke, which can greatly increase its chances of winning. Zhang Cheng thought it was worth a try. After confirming the countermeasure, he did not hesitate and directly issued a command. Pippi, use your best to launch a storm attack. Pippi also knew that the current situation was very unfavorable to it. It must use the storm to deal a heavy blow to Slowpoke and contribute to the team. Pippi condensed a large amount of flying energy and formed a large number of whirlwinds in the air. After these whirlwinds merged and intersected, they slowly turned into a powerful storm. The storm skill was successfully condensed and attacked Slowpoke directly. Looking at the storm with such a large range, Zhang knew that Slowpoke could not dodge it and could only withstand the storm and defeat Pidgeot. Slowpoke, take the storm skill, then use the water gun to defeat Pidgeot. Adong. Slowpoke looked at the storm in front of him and knew that he was too heavy to dodge it, so he just stood there. The storm skill directly hit Slowpoke, who was motionless on the ground, and was blown into the air by the storm skill. The wind blades in the air scraped Slowpoke's body, causing a lot of injuries to Slowpoke. However, Slowpoke, who was slow to react, did not say a word, as if he did not feel the pain. After enduring this storm attack, Slowpoke spit out a thick column of water, which directly hit Pidgeot, who was dying. The water gun attack became the last straw that broke the camel's back for Pidgeot. Adong. After using the water gun attack, Slowpoke screamed in pain. Its reflex arc was relatively long, and it only felt the pain caused by the storm attack now. Pidgeot lost its ability to fight, and now Zhang Cheng only had the last Pokemon left, while Zhang was a half-status Slowpoke. Now we only have one Pokemon left, let's have the final showdown, Zhang shouted with blood boiling. This was the most exciting match he had played in recent times, and it made him feel like the blood in his body was burning. Come on, let's fight it out, Melly Sheep, get ready to fight. Zhang Cheng took out his third Pokemon, Melly Sheep. Your Melly Sheep is actually shiny. Seeing the Melly Sheep released by Zhang Cheng, Zhang said with some surprise. This was the first time he had seen a shiny Pokemon. Yeah, that's right, I also got this shiny Melly Sheep by chance, Zhang Cheng said directly. I see, Zhang nodded, then put away his surprised expression and commanded Slowpoke to fight. Although the shiny Melly Sheep was rare, it did not increase the strength of the Pokemon. The most important thing now was the battle in front of him. Slowpoke, Mind Hammer. Adong. Slowpoke once again used his signature move, Mind Hammer. Looking at the Slowpoke rushing forward, Zhang Cheng directly used his ultimate move, Male Sheep, 100,000 volts. What? Hearing Zhang Cheng's order, Zhang said in disbelief, your Slowpoke can actually use 100,000 volts. A high-damage electric move like 100,000 volts is a devastating blow to water-type elves. Zhang Cheng did not respond to the other party, because the performance of Slowpoke next was enough to explain everything. Mimi, Slowpoke's aptitude is very high. After studying for a period of time recently, he has completely mastered the attack magic of 100,000 volts. Slowpoke's body was filled with thick yellow electric currents, which became more and more dense, and finally formed a yellow lightning beam, which directly wrapped Slowpoke in it. Slowpoke, who rushed forward with Mind Hammer, was directly submerged in the electric current. As the current disappeared, Slowpoke fell to the ground, with traces of electric shock all over its body. However, despite such serious injuries, Slowpoke still stood up. Zhang Cheng had to admire the perseverance of this Slowpoke. Slowpoke, how are you? Can you continue to fight? Zhang looked at Slowpoke's current state with some worry. Yadan. Slowpoke nodded slowly, indicating that he was fine. Good job, Slowpoke, let's use mental power to attack. Yadan. Slowpoke gathered psychic energy and formed a powerful telekinetic attack on Mealy Sheep. Mealy Sheep, take this attack hard, and then use the electric shock trick. Zhang Cheng didn't want Mealy Sheep to dodge. It was very difficult to dodge telekinetic attacks. In addition, Mealy Sheep's speed was not fast, so he simply didn't dodge and concentrated on using his skills. Following the trainer's instructions, Mealy Sheep took a mental attack and lost most of its health, but it was still much better than Slowpoke. After enduring Slowpoke's attack, Mealy Sheep quickly condensed its electric energy and formed a yellow electric current to attack Slowpoke. Slowpoke was hit by the electric shock trick and suffered a lot of damage again. Seeing the electric attack hit, Zhang Cheng felt relieved. This game should have a result. Just when Zhang Cheng was about to speak, he found that Slowpoke did not fall down, but stood there in a daze. This made Zhang Cheng feel a little bad. Could it be that Slowpoke still had the ability to fight? Zhang Cheng did not dare to guarantee that Mealy Sheep could take another mental attack. If Slowpoke still had the ability to fight, the situation would be completely different. Both of them looked at Slowpoke in the field with trepidation. Chapter 117 Training. All about 10 seconds later, Slowpoke suddenly cried out in pain, and then staggered to the ground. It turned out that Slowpoke's reaction was too slow, and it waited for a while before falling down after losing its fighting ability. This made the two people's hearts come to their throats. They didn't expect Slowpoke to do this. After defeating Slowpoke, Mealy Sheep's level was also upgraded to level 11, and he also mastered a new skill, Cotton Robe. The fall of Slowpoke also meant the end of the game. Both of them released their own elves and took out healing spray to recover the injuries of the elves. You are very strong. I thought I was already the best among my peers, but I didn't expect that there are always people who are better than you, Ziwen said with emotion. Hearing Ziwen's words, Zhang Cheng responded, you don't have to belittle yourself. Your strength is already the best among your peers. A small-town youth like Ziwen who has no financial conditions to go to the elf university is indeed very outstanding to have such strength at the same age as Zhang Cheng. Hearing Zhang Cheng's praise, Ziwen nodded and continued to spray Kintaro with healing spray. After the two settled the elves, they returned to the town together. The elves had not recovered from their injuries from the previous battle and could not continue training. After returning to the town, Ziwen insisted on inviting Zhang Cheng to dinner. Zhang Cheng didn't want to go at first, but Ziwen was too enthusiastic, so he finally agreed. The two came to a large restaurant, ate and drank a lot, and didn't leave until almost evening. After returning to the hotel, Zhang Cheng fell directly on the bed to relieve the fatigue of the day. The next morning, Zhang Cheng continued to bring the elves to this open space for training. After arriving at the training ground, Zhang Cheng saw Ziwen again as expected. After Ziwen found this open space, he should have planned to continue training the elves here. The two did not fight today, but each instructed their elves to train skill points. Nearing evening, both of them put away the elves and prepared to return to town. Zhang Cheng, let's have another sparring match tomorrow morning. I feel my elves have improved a lot after fighting with you, Ziwen said to Zhang Cheng on the way back. I'm going to Huangsha Mountain Range for training tomorrow, so I may not have the chance to spar with you, Zhang Cheng told him his plan. In recent days, Zhang Cheng has confirmed that Huangsha Mountain Range is safe, so he plans to continue training tomorrow to improve the level of his elves. Go to Huangsha Mountain Range for training, Ziwen thought for a while and continued, then let's go together tomorrow. It will be safer if someone goes with us. Ziwen also wanted to go to Huangsha Mountain Range for training a long time ago, but the inside of the mountain range is too dangerous, so he rarely goes in alone. Okay, no problem, Zhang Cheng thought about it and agreed to Ziwen's request. There is really no harm in having one more person. In case of danger, they can take care of each other. With Ziwen's strength, he will not be a drag. The two agreed to meet at the foot of the mountain at 7 o'clock tomorrow morning and then enter Huangsha Mountain Range together. After confirming the time and place, the two separated and returned to their respective residences. After returning to his residence, Zhang Cheng took out the energy cube, fed the elves, and then went to wash up. The training will begin tomorrow, and it is particularly important to maintain a good mental state. After Zhang Cheng finished washing up, he turned off the lights and went to bed. The next morning, Zhang Cheng and Ziwen had entered the Huangsha Mountains and began to look for wild elves to fight on the periphery. The time of training always passed quickly. Near the evening, the two took back the elves and began to rush to the town. On the first day of training, the two only wandered around the edge of the Huangsha Mountains and did not go too deep. Zhang Cheng mainly improved the level of the water-leaping fish and the melee sheep, letting them fight more. Ziwen led his Slowpoke fight. The water elves of the Slowpoke have a good effect against the wild elves in the Huangsha Mountains. The two agreed to continue the training tomorrow, and then they dispersed. In this way, in the next month, Zhang Cheng and Ziwen entered the Huangsha Mountains every day for training, and occasionally had a competition. The strength of the elves also improved very quickly, and the water-leaping fish has reached level 14. The melee sheep has reached level 15 and evolved into the wool sheep. Now the wool sheep is very proficient in the use of the 100,000 volts skill, which has become the main output means of the battle. Zhang Cheng also began to let the wool sheep learn the thunder skill. After the wool sheep learns the thunder skill, the overall strength of his team will rise to a higher level. After finishing today's training, Zhang Cheng did not go back to the hotel to rest directly, but went to the familiar elf market and spent 150,000 elf coins to buy a skill learning machine for freezing beams. The mosquito-scented frog currently does not know ice skills, and the means to deal with dragon-type elves are not sufficient. So Zhang Cheng bought a skill learning machine for ice skills for the mosquito-scented frog to learn and supplement a multi-attribute attack surface. After buying the skill learning machine, Zhang Cheng simply found a place to solve dinner and then returned to the hotel. After returning to the hotel, Zhang Cheng quickly washed up, then lay on the bed and browsed his phone, relieving the fatigue of the day. Zhang Cheng, who was browsing his phone, found that there was news about crystals on the internet. According to current detection, crystals have been found in many places in China. Through crystals, the spirit can achieve super evolution. However, according to the research of experts, most elves cannot use crystals. The specific reason has not been found yet, and we can only wait for further research. Seeing this, Zhang Cheng knew that Mega Evolution was about to come out. At that time, the first to use Mega Evolution should be the trainers of those big families. Only after a period of development and popularization, this Mega Evolution stone can be obtained by powerful trainers. In the teacher's office of Zhang Cheng No. 1 Middle School. Yi Tian, are you sure you want to go out for training? It's very dangerous in the wild, Liu Feng asked the student standing in front of him. Today, Yi Tian suddenly found him and said that he wanted to go out for training, which surprised Liu Feng a little. Hearing the instructor's question, Yi Tian said firmly, "Instructor, I want to improve my strength as soon as possible. And going out for training is also a decision I made after careful consideration." After getting Yi Tian's firm answer again, Instructor Liu Feng sighed and said, "In this case, I will approve your leave, but you must be very careful outside the school. It's not as stable as school outside, I remember. Thank you for your reminder." Chapter 108, Usage of the Poison. The next morning, Zhang Cheng and Ziwen continued to go to the Huangshan Mountains for training. This time they planned to go inside the mountains to find stronger elves to fight. Now Zhang Cheng's elves are all above level 14, and fighting some level 10 elves outside the mountains really doesn't have much benefit. "Have you heard about the news about the elf crystal recently?" Ziwen suddenly said to Zhang Cheng on the way into the mountains. "When this thing first appeared, it caused a big sensation. I knew about it at the time." Zhang Cheng recalled the first time he saw the information about the crystal. According to the expert's judgment, there should be many places in China where crystals will appear. "Do you think there will be any in the Huangshan Mountains?" Ziwen said excitedly. "It's hard to say. Maybe you'll meet one if you're lucky." Zhang Cheng thought for a moment and continued, "If the crystal can really super evolve the elves as they say, then its value is absolutely inestimable. This is a God-given opportunity," Ziwen said with shining eyes. "Let's go into the mountains to find elves to train first, and see if there are any clues about the crystal." Zhang Cheng nodded. He also thought this was a good arrangement. The main time would be used to train the elves, and the extra free time would be used to look for clues about the crystal. If the crystal is found as Ziwen said, it would definitely greatly improve with strength in the future. The two came to the mountains, and Zhang Cheng used the system to detect the level of the nearby elves. They didn't stop until they came to an area where the average level of the elves was around level 15, and they began to look for suitable wild elves to fight. Zhang Cheng released the water-leaping fish to fight. The water-leaping fish is now level 14. With more training in the recent period, it will have a chance to break through level 16 within a month and evolve into a swamp-leaping fish. At that time, its combat effectiveness will get a qualitative leap. Zhang Cheng took the water-leaping fish and began to look for a suitable target. On a beach, Zhang Cheng found a pot monster, and opened the system to browse the specific situation of this Pokémon. Name, Pot Monster, level 14, gender, female, qualification, C attribute, rock carrying props, none basic skills, fake cry, imitate, go crazy, kick down, rock fall learning skills, none inherited skills, headbutt, self-destruction characteristics, strong, no matter how much damage it receives, it will not be killed in one hit, and the attack that agrees to kill in one hit will not take effect. Note, Pot Monster, a potted Pokémon, is a rock-type Pokémon, so when there is too much water in the body, it will appear weak, so it will drain water from its size to regulate the water in the body. This Pot Monster is the same level as Water Leap Fish, and it is a rock-type Pokémon. It is a very good choice to give Water Leap Fish as a leveling object. After confirming the target, Zhang Cheng directly issued an attack command, Water Leap Fish, use the water gun to attack. Gain a Dino. Water Leap Fish used its specialty water skill water gun to attack, and the water gun attack formed a string of water columns flying towards the distant basin monster. Basin monster was very vigilant and began to dodge the moment Water Leap Fish attacked, and the water gun skill did not hit. High-level elves have a strong sense of defense. and it is not so easy to rely on sneak attacks to gain an advantage. Zhang Cheng now found an embarrassing situation when he let Water Leap Fish fight against high-level rock elves. That is, the only water skill that Water Leap Fish can use is the water gun, and there are no other high-damage water skills. Thinking of this, Zhang Cheng planned to arrange a powerful water skill for Water Leap Fish after returning today, otherwise it would have a very good striking effect on rock elves. After Basin Monster dodged the attack of Water Leap Fish, it also used the move to counterattack. Basin Monster activated the rock energy, forming a large amount of gravel in the air to hit Water Leap Fish. This is Basin Monster's specialty skill, Rockfall. Water Leap Fish, use guard. The range of the falling rocks is very large, so Zhang Cheng directly asked Water Leap Fish to use guard to resist. A large amount of rubble hit the barrier created by the guard skill, but did not cause any damage to Water Leap Fish. The defensive power of the guard skill is still considerable. Seeing that his attack had no effect, Pancakeway was immediately very angry. This guy had attacked him, and now he even easily blocked his attack. Thinking of this, Pancakeway launched another attack. This time, Pancakeway used the fighting skill to kick him down. This move has a good effect on high-weight elves, but it is not so effective for Water Leap Fish. Water Leap Fish, use water gun to fight hard. Zhang Cheng asked Water Leap Fish to continue to use the water-based skills to attack against Pancakeway. Pancakeway gathered the fighting skills on his right leg, quickly approached Water Leap Fish, and attacked Water Leap Fish's legs. At the same time, Water Leap Fish also condensed the water gun skill and hit Pancakeway directly on his body. Both sides were attacked. Shuaiyu was knocked down by the kick skill and suffered some damage. Pancakeway was knocked back 4 or 5 meters by the water gun attack before he could stabilize his body. Pancakeway was obviously a bit overwhelmed by the water skill attack, but Shuaiyu was relatively light, so he did not lose too much health after being kicked down. Shuaiyu used the poisonous attack. This was also the first time that Shuaiyu used the poisonous skill in the battle. Zhang Cheng planned to let Shuaiyu try the poisonous and defensive fighting method. Dana Shuaiyu condensed a large amount of dark purple poisonous energy and shot it directly at Pancakeway. Pancakeway was not in a good condition because he was attacked by the water gun just now, and he did not have time to dodge this poisonous skill. After being poisoned, Pancakeway's whole body turned dark purple and his health began to gradually decrease. Pancakeway was very angry after being tricked by Shuaiyu and launched a rockfall attack again. Shuaiyu, do you know what to do? Zhang Cheng directly let Shuaiyu do it on his own. Because in the previous training, Zhang Cheng had already told Shuaiyu how to use the poison. Dang, Shuaiyu nodded, indicating that he understood, and then directly used the defensive skill. After the defensive skill was activated, a barrier was formed around Shuaiyu's body, directly blocking the falling rocks. The attack of the potion did not cause any damage to Shuaiyu, and the poison began to erupt, and the health of the potion began to decrease. Feeling his own physical condition, the potion became more and more angry, and directly stepped forward to launch a headbutt attack. A large amount of energy gathered in the potion's head, and then hit the water. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 109 Crystal appears. When Shuaiyu saw the headbutt attack from the pot monster, he was not panicked at all. He condensed a barrier that was larger than the guard on the spot. The headbutt attack from the pot monster hit the barrier and was directly bounced back. This is the genetic skill of wide area defense that Shuaiyu has learned. With wide area defense and guard skills, it is difficult for the opponent to cause damage to Shuaiyu. Of course, if these two skills are used repeatedly, the success rate will be greatly reduced. The attack was resolved again, and the poison of the pot monster became more and more serious, and the health value has dropped by nearly half. Faced with a rogue play of the opponent Shuaiyu, the pot monster had to choose to swallow his anger. If he continued to fight, he would not gain any advantage. Thinking of this, the pot monster ran away directly. Looking at the escaped pot monster, Zhang Cheng did not choose to chase. At the moment, the pot monster was poisoned. If he continued to attack, it might put its life in danger. The Alliance has protection for wild elves, and killing wild elves at will be punished to a certain extent. While Zhang Cheng was fighting, Ziwen on the other side was also letting his Quintero fight. Ziwen's way of training Pokémons is very different from Zhang Cheng's. He chose to train his own Quintero first, and only let Doodoo and Slowpoke train during Quintero's rest period. This training method is to prioritize the strength of one's main Pokémon to a very high level, and then slowly train for subsequent rewards. Zhang Cheng's training method is the balanced training method, which keeps the level of each Pokémon at the same level and cooperates with each other to fight. Ziwen's training focus during this period is on Quintero. Now the level of this Quintero has also reached level 18, and its combat power is very strong. The two of them found some wild Pokémons to fight in the next time. In the last battle in the morning, the Waterleap fish also successfully upgraded to level 15. Next, the Waterleap fish can evolve into the Swampleap fish as long as it is upgraded by 1 level. At that time, all the Pokémons in Zhang Cheng's team will have completed an evolution. After finishing the training at 12 o'clock in the morning, the two found a place to rest under the shade of a tree and took out the packed lunch to eat. The Pokémons were eating the energy blocks prepared in advance. At 2 o'clock in the afternoon, after lunch, the two people and the Pokémons who had a good rest started training again. Zhang Cheng, our training in the morning is almost over. Let's go deeper in the afternoon to see if there are any traces of crystals, Ziwen suggested. Okay, no problem. Zhang Cheng is also quite interested in crystals. If he can get crystals, then after the Mega Evolution is developed, Zhang Cheng's strength will be greatly improved. The two have been searching for traces of crystals in the interior of the Huangsha Mountains in the afternoon. If they meet wild elves on the way, they will fight with them. In this way, the two searched for crystals in various caves and corners in the Huangsha Mountains. Why don't we just forget it? I don't think there's much hope, Zhang Cheng said helplessly to Ziwen. The two have already searched several caves, not to mention that they found nothing, but also alarmed many elves, and it took a lot of effort to get out. Look for it again. And go to the last cave. If there's still nothing, forget it, Ziwen said unwillingly. After searching for a while, there was no discovery, and Ziwen also had the idea of giving up, but he was more unwilling and still held a glimmer of hope. Okay, let's continue to look. Zhang Cheng nodded, and took one last look to completely stop thinking about it. In this way, the two continued to search. At the edge of a cliff, Zhang Cheng found a cave. There is a cave at the cliff ahead. Let's go there and take a look. If there is nothing, we will go back. Okay, Ziwen nodded, and then walked into the cave. Wait, standing at the edge of the cave, Zhang Cheng stopped Ziwen. There seems to be the sound of elves fighting inside. Let's be careful. Ziwen nodded to show that he understood. The two lowered their steps and walked into the cave. There are a large number of stone pillars inside the cave. These stone pillars are conical and emit a faint fluorescence, which looks very mysterious. But there is no time to appreciate these now. The two rushed in the direction of the fight. When they arrived at the place where the fight started, Zhang Cheng and Ziwen hid behind a rock and observed the situation in front. There were 3 men confronting each other in the cave, 2 of whom were twin brothers Mei Xin and Mei Fei from the R organization. The young man at the other end was named Chu Qing, the young master of the Jinling Chu family. Above the 3 people, there was a stone platform, on which were placed 3 crystals with patterns. The appearance of these crystals was exactly the same as the elf crystals circulated on the internet. Next to Chu Qing stood a laurel leaf, and next to the 2 brothers of the R organization were 2 big wolfhounds. R organization, the crystals here are not something you can get your hands on. I warn you one last time. If you continue to stop me, I will kill you without mercy, Chu Qing said coldly to the 2 people of the R organization opposite. Hearing Chu Qing's words, the 2 brothers Mei Xin and Mei Fei said with disdain, just because you are a young boy, you are not qualified to say this. Hearing the 2 people's ridicule, Chu Qing did not continue to waste saliva with them, but directly proved his idea with actions. Laurel Leaf used the magic leaf to attack. Seeing that the other party started to attack directly, the 2 brothers did not hesitate and commanded the big wolfhounds to fight. Big Wolfhound, roar loudly. Big Wolfhound, bite and attack. The battle between the 3 elves caused serious damage to the entire cave. Our trip was not in vain. There are crystals here. Ziwen looked at the crystals in front of him and said to Zhang Cheng, suppressing his impulse. Zhang Cheng made a cautious gesture and said softly, let's see the situation first. When they are both injured, we will have a chance to take action. Ziwen nodded to show that he understood. He also knew that if he acted rashly now, he would only be passive. When both sides were weak, he would come out and be the one who benefited. Looking at the three Pokémons fighting in the field, Zhang Cheng opened the system to check their specific situation. Name, Bayleaf, level 32, gender, female, qualification, A attribute, grass carrying props, light powder, glittering powder. After carrying it, the light will confuse the opponent, making its moves difficult to hit. Basic skills, impact, call, flying leaf knife, poison powder, photosynthesis, magic leaf, nature's grace, sweet fragrance, reflection wall. Learning skills, guard, energy ball, shadow clone. Inherited skills, vine whip, parasitic seed, green grass. Field characteristics, lush. When the health value is lower than a certain level, lush will be triggered, and the power of grass skills will be greatly increased. Notes, Bayleaf, a grass Pokemon, is the evolved form of Chikorita. It exudes a spice-like smell from around its neck, and after smelling it, you inexplicably become unwilling to fight. Chapter 110. Both sides suffer. After reading the data of Bayleaf, Zhang Cheng was a little surprised. The trainer of Bayleaf must not be an ordinary person. It is impossible for an ordinary trainer to get a Pokemon with such qualifications at this stage. This guy is probably the young master of a big family, Zhang Cheng murmured. Then Zhang Cheng moved his eyes to the big wolfhound on the other side and checked their data. Name, big wolfhound, level 28, gender, male, qualification, C attribute, evil carrying props, none. Basic skills, impact, long howl, sand throwing, crushing, scent detection, roar, bluffing, malicious pursuit, ghost face, loud roaring. Learning skills, tooth for tooth. Inherited skills, poisonous fangs, fright. Characteristics, overconfidence. After knocking down the opponent, the attack power will increase due to self-confidence. Notes, big wolfhound, abiding Pokemon, the evolution of coyote dog. When it makes a fierce roar and lowers its body, it is a precursor to attack, and it bites with sharp teeth. The qualifications of the R organization's wolfhounds are naturally incomparable to Bayleaf's, and their levels are also a little worse, but they have two of them. The other wolfhound is also level 28. Apart from the sprinting characteristics, the two wolfhounds are basically the same. Bayleaf is under a lot of pressure facing the two wolfhounds. The opponent double teams from the front and back, so Bayleaf must be extremely vigilant. The battle between the two sides was very fierce, and all three elves were seriously injured. Wolfhound, poisonous fangs. Mazin commanded his wolfhound to use the inherited skill of poisonous fangs to attack. Because it was a sneak attack from the back, Bayleaf had no time to dodge and directly bit the wolfhound hard. Then Bayleaf let out a painful cry, and the wounds that were bitten turned dark purple, and then the color spread to other parts of the body. Bayleaf was poisoned. According to the current situation, I am afraid that she will not be able to hold on for long. Looking at the seriously injured Bayleaf, Chuqing had to take it back and replace it with another elf. Bayleaf, you did a great job. Gothitduck, Onyx, come on. Chuqing released two Pokemon at once. Obviously, he knew that fighting 1 against 2 was not a good choice. Zhang Cheng immediately opened the system to check Chuqing's two Pokemon. Gothitduck was level 33 and Onyx was level 29. According to the current situation, if the number of Pokemon of the members of the R organization is less than 4, they will definitely not be Chuqing's opponent. The two wolfhounds have been seriously injured. If there are no two Pokemon of around level 30, the next battle will be one-sided. Zhang Cheng naturally hopes that the strength of the R organization will be stronger, so that both sides can be defeated and he can take advantage of the opportunity to pick up the lead. Mazin and Mayfei of the R organization saw Chuqing release two Pokemon at once, and they did not hesitate at all to release their second Pokemon. Come out, Crawfish. The two brothers released two identical Pokemon again. It must be said that these two people are really brothers. The Pokemon they use are exactly the same. The two Iron Claw Lobsters were both level 30, and with two Wolfhounds in the field, Chuqing was directly at a disadvantage. According to Zhang Cheng's estimation, this should be all their combat power. And it is unlikely that there are other powerful elves. At most, there are two spare elves of about level 20, which can be dealt with by the strength of Zhang Cheng and Ziwen. Boy, do you think you have so many elves? You still want to win by numbers, Mazin taunted Chuqing. That's right, kid, you are dead today, Mayfei also said with his teeth and claws bared. Gothitduck, telekinesis attack, big rock snake, binding attack, Goth the duck directly condensed a large amount of psychic energy and attacked the iron claw lobster. The telekinesis attack hit the skin of the iron claw lobster, but it had no effect. Boy, I can see that you have never met a dark elf, and you still want to use superpowers to deal with us, Mazin said with a sneer on his face. Chu Qing clenched his fists, and his legs trembled slightly. He rarely encountered evil-type Pokémons in battles, and his Golduck was best at telekinesis, so he used it directly. He didn't expect that all the opponent's Pokémons were evil-type, so it was difficult for his Golduck to perform well. At the same time, Onix also received instructions and quickly rushed to the front of the two wolfhounds, using the binding attack to trap the two Pokémons tightly. Iron Claw Lobster, Bubble Beam, Iron Claw Lobster, let's use the Bubble Beam to rescue the wolfhounds. Seeing that Onix had tied up the two wolfhounds, the two quickly directed the Iron Claw Lobster to attack. Onix with 4 times weak water was hit by 2 bubble beams at the same time and was directly beaten all over. The two wolfhounds also took the opportunity to break free, but they were already a candle in the wind and had no fighting ability. Seeing this, Mazin and Mayfei also took back the wolfhounds. The current situation is very favorable for the two brothers. Golduck can only use water-type skills to deal with him, and Onix with 4 times weak water. The two water-type iron claw lobsters on their side can directly hit Onix and make him doubt his life. Chu Qing looked at the situation in front of him and knew that it was very disadvantageous to him. He was restrained in terms of attributes. Bayleaf had no combat capability now, and he could not deal with the opponent's iron claw lobster at all. Thinking of this, Chu Qing commanded with fierce eyes, Onix, use the big explosion. He knew that Onix had no capital to fight the iron claw lobster, and only by using the big explosion could he bring himself a glimmer of life. Onix also understood the situation in front of him, and directly absorbed a large amount of energy to start the hidden explosion. Mazin and Mayfei were also very scared when they saw this scene. While commanding the elves, they hid in the rocks behind Iron Claw Lobster. Retreat quickly. Boom. Onix's explosion directly blew the stone pillars in the cave everywhere. The two Iron Claw Lobsters retreated in advance and avoided the center of the explosion. They still suffered a lot of damage, because Onix's explosion was too powerful. Even if they were affected by the edge of the explosion, it was very terrifying. After Onix used the big explosion, it fainted directly, and a lot of black smoke came out of its body. Chu Qing looked at Onix with distress, took out the Pokeball and took it back. Onix, you are a true warrior. Chapter 111 The Fisherman Gains Benefit. After Onix fell, only a Golduck with full health and a half-health clawed lobster were left on the field. Golduck, Water Jet. After the explosion, Chu Qing immediately commanded Golduck to continue the attack. Zhang Cheng was observing the situation from the side. The current situation was exactly what he wanted to see. The two clawed lobsters were affected by the explosion and were not in a good state. Golduck could only use water skills to attack clawed lobsters, and clawed lobsters were resistant to water. So both sides had no advantage and were in a state of equal strength. As long as the two sides fought for a while and consumed the health of the elves to the bottom, it would be time for him to take action. Clawed lobster, use the crushing skill. Boy, you're done, Mifei said fiercely. At present, they have the advantage in attributes and numbers, so they seemed very confident. The two clawed lobsters came forward and wrestled with the Golduck. Although Golduck was in a good state, it could not withstand the siege of the two elves. After a period of consumption, the health of Golduck was almost at the bottom. The two crawfish were in a relatively better state, but they were also in a state of low health. Boy, you are so stubborn. It's too late to regret it now. Prepare to stay here forever, Mazin said viciously. Looking at the situation of both sides being injured, Zhang Cheng nodded to Ziwen, and then walked out from behind the rock. Who is it? When the two brothers Mazin and Mayfei were about to take action to get rid of Golduck, they suddenly found movement behind them. People who come to take the crystal, Zhang Cheng said while throwing his Pokeball. Frog, Pidgeot, prepare to fight. Kintaro, Toot, go grab the crystal. Ziwen also released his Pokemon together. Damn it, Crawfish, stop them from me. Seeing the two people who suddenly appeared, Mazin and Mayfei's face was a little ugly. They fought for so long, but in the end, they were treated as fishermen by others. How could they accept this? Mosquito Frog, Mount Tai is pressing down on you. Pippy Bird, Air Blade, Yobo Mosquito Frog gathered all its strength, jumped directly into the sky, and smashed at a lobster below. Beep, Pippy Bird condensed the energy of the flying system, turned the energy into a sharp blade and fired at the lobster. Zwen also commanded Kintaro and Dudu to attack. Kintaro used the horn attack, Dudu used the peck attack. Under the command of the two, the four elves attacked together. A large number of attacks fell on the bodies of the two lobsters, directly beating them out of combat ability. Damn it, you dare to offend our organization, you will not have a good result. Seeing that their elves had been defeated, Mei Xin and Mei Fei tried to speak harshly to calm Zhang Cheng and Zwen. Haha, a group of rats who are afraid of the light, still stubborn when they are about to die, Zwen said with disdain. Who are you? Chu Qing asked the two people who appeared in front of him. Of course they are the ones who came to take the crystal. Zhang Cheng was too lazy to talk nonsense with him, and directly let the Mosquito Frog attack the Goddic Duck. Mosquito Frog used a series of slaps on Goddic Duck. Yobo Yobo. The Mosquito Frog quickly approached Goddic Duck and launched a series of slaps. The series of slaps quickly slapped Goddic Duck's big mouth. After 4 consecutive slaps, Goddic Duck was directly beaten dizzy. What do you mean? How dare you attack me? I am the second young master of the Jinling Chu family. Chu Qing saw that the two people even wanted to attack him, and hurriedly brought out his identity. Are you as stupid as those two rockets? Zwen said with a face full of sarcasm. I don't care whether you are from the Chu family or the Long family, you can talk about it first. Pippy Bird, go and take down the crystal above. Zhang Cheng planned to get the crystal first, and then make subsequent plans. Pippy Bird spread its wings and flew into the sky, taking the crystal away with its claws. Seeing the action of the Pidgeot, Chu Qing said with a sullen face, you will regret this, Big Tail. Chu Qing released his last elf, which was also the lowest level among all his elves, so he had not taken it out before. Now he has been forced into a desperate situation, and if he doesn't take it out, there will be no chance. Looking at the big tail in front of him, Zhang Cheng opened the system and began to check the specific data. Name, Big Tail, level 19, gender, male, qualification, C attribute, general, carrying props, none, basic skills, catch, see through, turn round, flash of lightning, grab randomly, help, learning skills, shadow clone, inherited skills, iron tail, chase characteristics, sharp eyes. Thanks to the sharp eyes, the elf's hit rate will not be reduced. Notes, Big Tail, the evolution of the tail. The elf is made of a long and narrow cave with the shape of the body, and it will become a complex maze if you go deeper. Seeing that this big tail is only level 19, Zhang Cheng no longer has too many concerns. He guessed that Chu Qing must have another elf, but he didn't know what level it was. Zwen, let's work together to defeat this big-tailed lizard first. No problem, Kintaro, horn attack. Zwen is a ruthless man who doesn't talk much, but he does what he says. Kintaro gathered all his energy on his horns and rammed the big-tailed lizard hard. Mosquito Frog, climb the waterfall attack. Pippy Bird used storm. Yobo Yobo. Mosquito Frog condensed water attribute energy all over his body and rushed towards the big-tailed lizard. Beep beep. Pippy Bird continued to gather energy in the back and prepared to release a storm attack. The three elves used their most powerful moves to attack the big-tailed lizard at the same time. Big-tailed lizard, use iron tail. Chu Qing knew that his chances of winning were slim. Now all he had to do was to delay time and wait for rescue. When he met the members of the RR organization, he had already secretly passed a message out, and reinforcements would come soon. Kintaro took the brunt of the attack and used his horns to directly hit the iron tail of the great tail. The two Pokémons were almost the same in strength and were in a stalemate for a while. The arrival of the frog broke the 50-50 situation. The frog came to the right side of the great tail and directly hit it with the water elemental power of its whole body. The great tail was attacked by the waterfall and horn at the same time, and it was difficult to resist and was directly knocked out. The great tail had just stood firm after being knocked away, and a huge storm blew in front of it. Pidgeot's storm skill was successfully condensed at this time, and it rolled directly towards the great tail. The great tail, who had just been injured, had no time to dodge and was hit by the storm again. The storm skill rolled the great tail into the air, and countless wind blades cut the skin of the great tail. Chapter 112 Escape. After being hit by the storm skill, Doily also lost his ability to fight. Now that all the elves have been dealt with, Zhang Cheng plans to deal with them all. If he lets them go, there will be endless trouble. Mosquito Frog, kill these guys. Zhang Cheng directly asked the Mosquito Frog to deal with the three people and then leave the cave. Do you know who I am? You will regret it, Chu Qing shouted in panic. Zhang Cheng ignored the other party. Since he had offended the other party, there was no room for turning back. He would do it once and for all. The mosquito frog heard Zhang Cheng's order and waved his fist towards Chu Qing. Originally, it planned to deal with the two guys from the R organization first, but Chu Qing kept nagging here, which made it very unhappy, so it simply dealt with him first. Stop! Suddenly a loud shout sounded, and along with the shout came a dragon energy attack. The mosquito frog was hit by the dragon energy and directly lost its ability to fight. Looking at the mosquito frog that was killed instantly, Zhang Cheng guessed that it was probably someone from the Chu family. The current situation was not good for him. While thinking about this, Zhang Cheng decisively crushed the mother-child pendant. Looking in the direction of the sound, a white-haired old man appeared in front of him, holding a cane in his hand. Behind the old man was a huge Tyrannosaurus. Zhang Cheng quickly used the system to scan the data of the Tyrannosaurus. Name, Tyrannosaurus, level 51, gender, female, qualification, 8 attributes, dragon, flying, carrying props, king's certificate, carry it to attack, and sometimes make the opponent flinch when causing damage, basic skills, rage, sparks, stare, bite, dragon breath, headbutt, gathering key, crushing, dragon claw, mind headbutt, ghost face, jet flame, learning skills, earthquake, rock slide, feather roost, inherited skills, tornado, dragon wave, dragon fury, make a big trouble. Characteristics, overconfidence. If you defeat the opponent, you will increase your attack power because of your confidence. Notes, Tyrannosaurus, a dragon Pokémon. Because of its strong desire for wings before evolution, its body cells suddenly mutated and formed huge wings. A level 51 Tyrannosaurus, this white-haired old man is a gym-level trainer, and they are not able to deal with it at all. Nephew Chu Qing, are you hurt anywhere? The old man came to Chu Qing and asked with concern. Thanks to Uncle's timely arrival, my nephew didn't have any accidents, Chu Qing replied respectfully. Seeing Chu Qing safe and sound, the old man breathed a sigh of relief, turned his head and looked at Ziwen and Zhang Cheng and said, "You little kid, you are so cruel at such a young age, you will definitely cause trouble in the future. Today, I will execute you on behalf of the League law enforcement officers." Haha, it's ridiculous, your good nephew is not a thing, do you want to execute him too? Zhang Cheng said disdainfully. The trainers of these big families may have done many shady things behind the scenes, and they are still pretending to be righteous. Zhang Cheng, let's say less, maybe you can save your life if you surrender, Ziwen said with trembling legs. He now regrets coming to find the crystal. Not only can he not get the crystal, but he will also lose his life here. Looking at Ziwen's frightened look, Zhang Cheng shook his head helplessly. The mosquito-repellent tadpole that killed him in one move, this terrible strength is indeed not something the two can resist, and Ziwen's fear is also reasonable. It's really interesting. There are still juniors who dare to talk to me like this. The old man was also amused, but he didn't rush to take action. Instead, he said to Ziwen on the side, "Young man, I see that you know how to repent and are a talented person. As long as you take him down, I will forgive you for what you did just now." After hearing what the old man said, Ziwen said excitedly, "Are you serious?" "Haha, of course," the old man said with a smile on his face. "Ziwen, do you believe even his nonsense? He will not let us go." Zhang Cheng shook his head and said. He just thought he had misjudged the person. He didn't expect that Ziwen was a person who would harm his companions for a glimmer of life. "Haha, you just attacked them, I didn't do anything. As long as I catch you, the culprit, and make meritorious contributions, they will definitely let me go." Looking at the two people fighting in front of him, the old man had a playful face. "This is human nature. Don't be used by them, Ziwen. I advise you to calm down and use your brain." Zhang Cheng gave Ziwen a final reminder. "Stop talking nonsense to me. If you want to blame someone, blame your bad luck," Ziwen said as he ordered Kintaro to attack. "Kintaro, slender horn." Mumu Kintaro yelled and raised his horns to hit Zhang Cheng. Looking at the rushing Kintaro, Zhang Cheng stood still without any reaction. Seeing Zhang Cheng like this, Ziwen didn't think much about it. He just thought that he had given up resistance and knew that he was powerless to turn the tide. Just when Kintaro was about to hit Zhang Cheng, a colorful barrier suddenly appeared in front of him, which easily dissolved Kintaro's attack. Ziwen looked in surprise and found that a girl with milky white long hair appeared next to Zhang Cheng. and there was a Gardevoir next to the girl. Gardevoir, strong mind, Bai Yuling said lightly. Gardevoir nodded, quickly accumulated a large amount of psychic energy, and smashed it directly on Kintaro's body. Kintaro was killed instantly. Little girl, who are you? I advise you not to get involved in the things here. Looking at Bai Yuling who suddenly appeared, the old man said with fear. Through Gardevoir's attack just now, he could see that the other party's strength was definitely a gym-level trainer. What if I insist on interfering? Bai Yuling said carelessly while playing with her hair. She has achieved so much at such a young age, so she must be from a big family. He can't do anything to her now. The white-haired old man thought of this and stopped hesitating. He said directly, today, consider it as me selling your elders a face, and let's end this matter, the white-haired old man said helplessly. Since the other party is from a big family and his own strength can't do anything to the other party, it's better to do a favor. Third uncle, that kid still has a crystal in his hand, and he can't just let him leave, Chu Qing said unwillingly. The white-haired old man shook his head gently. Seeing that his second uncle was so afraid of the other party, Chu Qing also understood that the other party's origin must be not simple, and there was no point in continuing to entangle. Hearing the words of the white-haired old man, Bai Yuling nodded slightly. Let's do it this way. A peaceful solution is definitely the best, and I'm too lazy to do it. After that, she pulled Zhang Cheng's hand and asked Gardevoir to use instant movement, and the two of them disappeared directly on the spot. Chapter 113, Silencing. Looking at Zhang Cheng and Bai Yuling who were leaving, Chu Qing said unwillingly, is that girl's strength so strong that even you, third uncle, are so afraid of her? The white-haired old man hesitated for a moment and said, her strength may be above mine. How is that possible? Chu Qing said in disbelief. She is only about my age? How could she be stronger than you, third uncle? Nephew, you should know that there are always people better than you in this world. From my experience, this girl should be from the Bai family in the Magic City. The Bai family in the Magic City? Chu Qing was surprised. He had naturally heard of the Bai family in the Magic City, which was a more powerful family than their Chu family. The white-haired old man didn't want to say too much about it. He turned his head and looked at the other three people in the cave and said, let's deal with the things here first. While speaking, Chu Qing also looked at Ziwen and Mei Xinmei of the R organization. Since the white-haired old man appeared just now, Mei Xinmei has been hiding aside, looking for an opportunity to slip away, but unfortunately there has been no good opportunity. Now seeing the white-haired old man, he hurriedly said, Senior, we have no intention of hurting your nephew, it's just because of some trivial things that caused misunderstandings. You two guys didn't say that at the beginning, Chu Qing said with disdain. Hearing Chu Qing's words, the two looked ugly, but had to bite the bullet and said, this is indeed a misunderstanding. We two brothers are here to apologize to you. Please give us a way out for the sake of our boss. At this time, the two brothers had to bring up the boss of the R organization to see if it would work. Haha, what face do you have in your R organization? It's just a group of rats living in the dark world, the old man said with disdain. Bao Filong, spray flames to send them on their way. Senior, we know we are wrong, please spare our lives. Mei Xin and Mei Fei saw that the storm dragon was about to take action, and they knelt down and said. The white-haired old man was unmoved, turned his head and ignored the two. The storm dragon spewed out a huge column of flames from its mouth, and the column of light raised the temperature in the cave a lot. Mei Xin and Mei Fei disappeared in the flames of the Tyrannosaurus. After dealing with the two, the white-haired old man turned to look at Ziwen, who was trembling beside him. Ziwen was devastated at this moment. He had never thought that so many things would happen in just one afternoon. He first found the crystal stone and thought he could get some benefits. As a result, the white-haired old man came and he was forced to deal with Zhang Cheng. As a result, Zhang Cheng was also a tough guy. Not only did he get the crystal stone, he also ran away. In the end, I was the clown, Ziwen said sadly. If you had just chosen to fight to the end with your companions, I might have let you go now, but what I hate most in my life is betrayal. Considering that you are a junior, I will give you a euthanasia, the white-haired old man said in a cold tone. Senior, please don't do it. This was all instructed by that hateful Zhang Cheng. He asked me to find the crystal stone and attack you. I was really forced. Ziwen wove the last lie under the fear of death. Looking at Ziwen, who was stubborn and still using his companions to shield him from the arrows when he was about to die, the white-haired old man shook his head and released a bat. Bat, Use hypnosis. No, senior, please. The hypnotic sound waves of the bat hit Zhi Wen, and he fell asleep directly. Vulcan Dragon, spray flames. A large amount of fire elements gathered in the mouth of the dragon again, forming a flame beam that directly submerged Zhi Wen in it. The euthanasia that the white-haired old man mentioned was to let Zhi Wen be instantly evaporated by the sprayed flames while he was sleeping. This was also his last mercy. He knew that this kind of person had a vengeful character, and leaving him behind might become a big problem in the future. After getting rid of the three people, the white-haired old man took Chu Qing, sat on the back of the dragon, and flew towards the direction of Jinling City. Outside the gate of Zhang Cheng No. 1 Middle School, a purple beam of light flashed by, which was the instant movement skill of Gardevoir. With the help of Gardevoir, the two returned to Zhang Cheng No. 1 Middle School in a few minutes. On the way, they went to the hotel in Huangsha Town and took away the fossil of the tentacle lily. Seeing that they returned to Zhang Cheng No. 1 Middle School so quickly, Zhang Cheng had to admire the power of Gardevoir. Fortunately, I came in time, otherwise you would be in danger this time. Bai Yuling let go of Zhang Cheng's hand and said. I didn't expect that there would be a gym-level trainer around the other party, Zhang Cheng said helplessly. It's okay now. What are you afraid of with your sister protecting you? Bai Yuling said proudly. Yes, sister is the best, Zhang Cheng also echoed Bai Yuling. Okay, let's go to school first. I haven't finished my class yet, and I ran out. I guess it's time to go home now, Bai Yuling looked at the time and said. After returning to school, Zhang Cheng first came to the Pokémon treatment room and handed the Mosquito frog to the medical staff. The Mosquito frog was seriously injured by the storm dragon and needed to be treated quickly. After confirming that there was no problem with the Mosquito frog, Zhang Cheng was relieved. He went to the cafeteria to have dinner, and then returned to the treatment room to wait silently for the Mosquito frog to recover. It was not until nearly midnight that the Mosquito frog's injuries were fully recovered. After the Mosquito frog recovered, Zhang Cheng also took it back to the dormitory. After returning to the dormitory, Zhang Cheng released all the elves and took out energy blocks for them to eat. Everyone has performed very well in recent times. Thank you for your hard work. You can have a good rest these days. Zhang Cheng praised the elves and then gave them a holiday. The elves were also very happy to hear the trainer's praise, and they chattered together. After settling the elves, Zhang Cheng also went to take a hot bath to relieve the fatigue of his whole body. After washing up, Zhang Cheng lay on the bed, thinking about everything that happened today. In the final analysis, it was because his strength was not strong enough, which led to his hands and feet being restricted in everything he did, and he had no way to deal with a slightly stronger trainer. Thinking of this, Zhang Cheng became more determined to become stronger. If you want to become stronger, the best way is to enter the top elf academy in China. Where you will have the best resources, you can quickly improve your strength, and you can also get the protection of the alliance. But becoming stronger is a long process, and you can't rush it now. I have been exhausted recently, and it's time to take a good rest for a few days to relax myself and the elves. Chapter 114 Rest. The next morning, Zhang Cheng got up early, had breakfast in the school cafeteria, and went to the classroom to prepare for class. Since he was back to school, he naturally had to follow the school curriculum. It was not right to play in school all the time. When he came to the classroom, today was a theoretical knowledge class. Zhang Cheng had nothing to do, so he turned on his phone and looked through the recent information about crystals. Through the recent news, Zhang Cheng learned that crystals have begun to appear in many places, and a large number of trainers have entered various places to explore crystals. Zhang Cheng continued to look through a lot of information, but did not find any information about Zhi Wen. If Zhang Cheng was right, the white-haired old man would definitely get rid of him. But at the moment, there was no news about Zhi Wen's disappearance or murder. Zhang Cheng guessed that it was probably suppressed by the people of those families. The strength of these big families can really cover the sky with one hand and do whatever they want. It is better to be careful when meeting them in the future. A morning passed quickly, and Zhang Cheng came to the second class next door, but found that Yan was not on the classroom. After asking, he found out that this guy was also out for training. Yan was not there, so Zhang Cheng had no choice but to go to the cafeteria to eat alone. Yan probably wanted to improve his strength quickly, so he went out to practice. I don't know how he is doing now. On the way to the cafeteria, Zhang Cheng murmured in his heart. After finishing lunch, Zhang Cheng continued to return to the classroom and started the afternoon class. Near the evening, a pleasant bell rang, which also meant that the day's class was over. The students left the classroom happily and did what they wanted to do. After class, Zhang Cheng thought about looking for Bai Yuling and sharing the crystal with her. After all, she saved him. But when he turned around, he thought that Bai Yuling would not want it. With her background, it would not be difficult for her to obtain crystals. Thinking of this, Zhang Cheng gave up the idea. After the development of the crystal is successful, Zhang Cheng can take the crystal to the Alliance Center for Processing and Transformation, and turn it into a Mega Evolution Stone. Zhang Cheng can foresee that in a year at most, the crystal will be developed in large quantities, and the price of the crystal will be extremely high at that time. Those who have a crystals can save a huge amount of elf coins. They only need to pay a certain processing fee to the Alliance Center to get the desired Mega Evolution Stone. In the following time, Zhang Cheng returned to the dormitory after dinner. Yi Yuan was not there and he had no one to spar with. In addition, he was really tired recently, so it would be good to relax for himself and the elves. After returning to the dormitory, Zhang Cheng first settled the elves and took out the energy cube to feed them. After finishing these tasks, he lay on the bed and browsed his mobile phone boredly. Near the evening, Bai Yuling found him to play games again. Zhang Cheng happened to have nothing to do, so the two of them played for nearly an entire night. On the second day of the elf practical class, Zhang Cheng dozed off directly beside the training ground. Time passed quickly like this. Zhang Cheng went to class and went home every day according to the school's schedule, ate and slept, and trained the elves in his spare time after class. The elves' levels were improved to a certain extent in the next month. The mosquito-repellent frog and the pibby bird reached level 18, and the pibby bird also learned a new flying skill, feather dance. The fluffy sheep was upgraded to level 17, and the water leaper was also upgraded by 2 levels. When it reached level 17, it also completed its evolution and is now a swamp leaper. According to Zhang Cheng's plan, he had to upgrade the level of the Pokémon to level 20 in the first half of the third year of high school, and go to the challenge tower to obtain the title of the normal level trainer. This title is also a ticket to the college entrance examination. Only after obtaining the title of the normal level trainer can he participate in the annual Pokémon college entrance examination. Now there is still a month before the final exam. During this month, Zhang Cheng has no intention of going out. He plans to focus on training the frog and Pidgeot in school, so that they can be upgraded to level 20, and then challenge the title of the normal level trainer. Magnolia Forest. At this time, Yi Yuan was training in the depths of the forest. At this time, Yi Yuan's Butterfree and Heracross had both reached level 17, and their strength had improved a lot. This period of training has allowed Yi Yuan to learn a lot of practical experience. While the Pokémon is improving, its own command awareness is also constantly rising. Today, Yi Yuan also set off early and came to the forest to continue looking for wild Pokémon to fight. A large crab appeared in the river ahead, and Yi Yuan directly used it as a training object. Butterfree, Illusion Beam. Yi Yuan ordered Butterfree to attack without saying anything. This Illusion Beam is a new skill Butterfree has just learned. Yi Yuan intends to improve his proficiency through actual combat. Butterfree gathered a lot of psychic energy around it, which turned into pink and purple light and flew towards the crab. The crab, which was sunbathing in the water, was hit by the illusion beam and was directly knocked out of the rocks by the river. The crab was very angry after being attacked. After seeing Butterfree, it rushed over with its big claws raised. Butterfree quickly flew into the sky to avoid it. The crab did not continue to chase it, but instead hit its head with its big claws. Yi Yuan was also confused when he looked at the crab's actions. After careful observation, he found that the crab was in a state of confusion. There is a chance that the opponent will be confused after being hit by the illusion beam. The crab is now lost and is attacking himself. Butterfree, come forward and use the bug bite. Looking at a backpack that fell, Yi Yuan hesitated for a moment before reaching out to catch it. If the other party wanted to deal with him, there was no need to resort to trickery. See you later. Seeing Yi Yuan get the backpack, the man in black took the Dragon King Scorpion and left directly. Yi Yuan curiously opened the backpack and found only 3 things in it: a Pokeball, a magnetic card, and a letter. Chapter 115 Vote for Battle. In the morning, with the sound of the alarm, Zhang Cheng started a new day. There is still 1 month before the final exam. Zhang Cheng set a goal for himself, which is to raise the level of Frog and Pidgeot to level 20 before the final exam. In this way, after the final exam, he can directly obtain the qualification of an entry-level trainer. Now Zhang Cheng attends classes on time every day, and after class, he goes to the training ground alone to train Pokémon. Frog and Pidgeot are also each other's opponents, working hard together to improve together. Both Pokémon have a strong desire to win, and neither wants to be surpassed by the other. In this way, Zhang Cheng began a comfortable time on campus. Another 20 days passed, and there was only a week left before the final exam, but Frog and Pidgeot only upgraded one level during this period, and now their levels are both 19. It seems that there is indeed a big gap between the wild and the school, Zhang Cheng murmured in his heart. If it is a month in the wild, it will definitely be able to upgrade 2 levels, but it is not so fast if it is just pure training in school. When Zhang Cheng was worrying about how to upgrade his level, he received good news. Yi-Tian was back. After knowing this news, Zhang Cheng went directly to Yi-Tian's dormitory and knocked on the door. The door of the room was open soon, and Zhang Cheng saw Yi-Tian's figure at the first time. You are finally back, but I have been waiting for you for so long, Zhang Cheng greeted Yi-Tian warmly after seeing him. I want to improve my strength, otherwise I am afraid I will not be your opponent at all when you come back from training, Yi-Tian said helplessly. Haha, it's good that you are back. We will continue to spar when we have time. I am worried that I can't find an opponent, Zhang Cheng patted Yi-Tian on the shoulder and said. No problem, I plan to go to the challenge tower after the holiday and win the title of ordinary trainer, Yi-Tian said his plan. It's the same as I thought, but challenging ordinary trainers requires the Pokémon level to reach level 20. Have you agreed to the requirements now? Zhang Cheng asked in surprise. Not yet. I'm stuck at level 19, so I said I'll go after the final exam. By then, I should be almost level 20. If I were level 20 now, I would have gone to the challenge tower a long time ago. That's a coincidence. My Frog and Pidgeot are also stuck at level 19. I was just worrying about how to quickly upgrade the level. Now that you're back, it's just right that we can fight to improve the strength of our Pokémons and strive to reach level 20 before the final exam, Zhang Cheng told Yi-Tian about his plan. Okay, in this way, we should be able to get the title of ordinary trainer soon. Yi-Tian was also looking forward to it. Okay, then it's settled. See you at the training ground after class tomorrow, Zhang Cheng said, and he didn't stay any longer and went straight back to his room. Looking at Zhang Cheng who was leaving, Yi-Tian took out the Pokéball from his backpack, wondering what he was thinking. The next evening, after finishing a day's class, Zhang Cheng came to the classroom of Class 2 to find Yi-Tian. The two went to the cafeteria to have dinner together, and then came to the training ground to prepare for the battle. Come on, we haven't fought for a while, I'm looking forward to the next battle, Zhang Cheng took out the Pokéball and said. Okay, no problem, Yi-Tian hesitated for a moment and said, let's have a 4v4 battle this time, 4v4, hearing Yi-Tian's words, Zhang Cheng asked in surprise, have you captured new Pokémons? Yi-Tian knew that Zhang Cheng had 4 Pokémons, but in Zhang Cheng's impression, Yi-Tian only had 3 Pokémons, namely, Butterfree, Heracross and Bombix. According to Zhang Cheng's guess, Bombix should have evolved into a forest lizard now. Now that Yi-Tian took the initiative to propose a 4v4, he must have captured a new Pokémon. Well, I captured one by chance when I was training in the Magnolia Forest, Yi-Tian nodded in response. Oh, Zhang Cheng asked curiously, what Pokémon is it? Zhang Cheng was still very interested in the Pokémon that Yi-Tian chose. You'll know in a while, Yi-Tian said mysteriously. Okay, let's have a 4v4 duel. Let me see what your last Pokémon is, Zhang Cheng said with anticipation. Come on, let's follow the regular competition process. Both sides release their first Pokémon at the same time, Yi-Tian said the rules of the battle. No problem, Zhang Cheng took out the Pokéball and said. It's decided to be you, Forest Lizard, Pippi Bird, prepare for battle. Both sides released their first Pokémon at the same time. Looking at the opponent's Forest Lizard, Zhang Cheng's mouth curled up slightly. Under the premise of knowing each other's Pokémon, the first Pokémon sent out became a game, a psychological game of attribute restraint. Yi-Tian guessed that Zhang Cheng would first send out his main Force Frog to fight in rainy weather. As long as the Grass-type Forest Lizard was sent out, it could be effectively targeted. Zhang Cheng also thought of this. Yi-Tian might send out a Grass-type Pokémon to restrain the one targeting him. Of course, Zhang Cheng was not 100% sure that Yi would take out the forest lizard. In this uncertain situation, Zhang Cheng's best choice is to send out Pidgeot, because the flying Pidgeot can restrain Yi's 3 elves at the same time, and sending out Pidgeot first is the best solution. Of course, there is a slight disadvantage to doing this, that is, the advantage of rainy weather is lost. Without the frog, rainy weather cannot be created, and Pidgeot's storm skill is difficult to hit. Seeing the opponent send out Pidgeot, Yi also knew that his thoughts were seen through by Zhang Cheng. Your thinking is still so clear. I feel that no one can take advantage of you in the game, Yi said helplessly. In fact, most games still depend on luck. While speaking, Zhang Cheng opened the system and began to check the information of the forest lizard. Name, forest lizard, level 18, gender, male, qualification, A attribute, grass carrying items, none, basic skills, slap, stare, absorb, flash of lightning, super absorb, chase, learning skills, energy ball, inherited skills, dragon breath, magic leaf, leaf storm, grass flute. Characteristics, lush. When the health of the elf is too low, the lush characteristic will be triggered, and the power of grass skills will be greatly increased. Notes: forest lizard. The forest lizard Pokémon is the evolved form of wood gecko. It grows leaves from its body, which can easily hide its body in the forest to avoid enemies. It lives in the dense forest and is the leader of tree climbing. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 116, Forest Lizard. As Zhang Cheng expected, Yi's wood gecko has evolved into a forest lizard and has been upgraded to level 18. Looking at the forest lizard's learning skill energy ball, Zhang Cheng was thoughtful. This should be the energy ball learning machine that Yi bought when they went to the breeding house together. According to what Yi said before, he planned to give the energy ball skill learning machine to Butterfree to increase Butterfree's attack surface. Now it seems that it should be under comprehensive consideration that the energy ball skill learning machine was given to the forest lizard. The grass-type forest lizard can indeed maximize the power of the energy ball skills. Zhang Cheng also personally believes that it is necessary to teach the forest lizard some grass-type skills, because the forest lizard can master too few grass-type skills in the early stage. In addition to the absorption skills, all the skills that can be learned are non-native skills. Are you ready? I'm going to start attacking, Yi said to Zhang Cheng, who didn't respond. Come on. Zhang Cheng retracted the system and began to concentrate on the battle. Forest lizard, lightning. Yi took the lead and commanded the forest lizard to attack. The choice of lightning flash was very correct. Using grass-type skills against Pidgeot was not very effective. Gana the forest lizard used its own flexibility to quickly approach Pidgeot, and used its legs to jump directly into the sky, and activated the lightning flash skill. Pidgeot, hold on, beep beep. Pidgeot also reacted very quickly, flapping its wings to gather a large amount of energy to form a barrier. The forest lizard's entire body hit the barrier without causing any damage. Air blade, beep. Pidgeot skillfully condensed the flying type energy, and the energy turned into a blade in the air, attacking the forest lizard below. Seeing that the forest lizard's attack was intercepted, Zhang Cheng decisively chose to launch a counterattack and use the flying type skill that the forest lizard feared the most to attack. Forest lizard, use dragon breath. Gana. The forest lizard condensed the dragon-type power into its body, and then exhaled the energy from its nose, and the expelled dragon breath energy directly and quickly attacked Pidgeot. The dragon breath and the air blade collided in mid-air, and the dragon breath continued to wear away the air blade. As time went by, the air blade was completely worn away, and only the last trace of the dragon breath attack remained. As it flew over, it was easily dodged by the Pidgeot. The initial fight between the two sides was a 50-50 fight. In the current situation, as long as the fight continues, the forest lizard will gradually fall into disadvantage, and it is only a matter of time before it is defeated, because the Pidgeot has an advantage in both level and attributes. Yi also thought of this. He was hesitating whether to take back the forest lizard. If he took back the forest lizard, the opponent would most likely send out the mosquito repellent frog. If the mosquito repellent frog opened the rainy weather, Yi would not dare to let the forest lizard fight, because in rainy weather, the storm skill is basically impossible to avoid. With the body of the forest lizard, it will basically be killed instantly by the storm attack. Yiyan gritted his teeth and planned to let the forest lizard continue to fight. He couldn't let the opponent's mosquito-repellent frog come out too early. As long as the forest lizard didn't fall, the mosquito-repellent frog would not think of coming out. With this idea in mind, Yiyan continued to attack. Forest lizard, use dragon breath again. Gana. The forest lizard once again accumulated dragon energy and discharged a large amount of dragon breath from its nose. After these dragon breaths were formed, they flew towards Pidgeot at a very fast speed. The seemingly light dragon breath actually carried extremely high damage. Pidgeot, use storm. Zhang Cheng planned to get rid of the forest lizard as quickly as possible, so that his frog and Mirik would have room to play. Although the storm skill is easy to use and has a high failure rate, it is the fastest way to defeat the forest lizard and is worth a try. Beep beep. Pidgeot heard the trainer's order and began to concentrate on condensing flying energy. A large amount of flying energy formed a huge storm under Pidgeot's control. However, the energy of the storm was very manic, and finally it broke away from Pidgeot's control directly. The condensed flying energy began to dissipate, and the storm skill failed to use. At the same time, the forest lizard's dragon breath skill attacked and directly hit Pidgeot. Pidgeot was attacked by the dragon breath and was also seriously injured. Forest lizard, use the dragon breath again. After tasting the sweetness, Yiyan chose to continue to use the dragon breath to attack. Gana. The forest lizard quickly condensed the dragon breath and launched an attack on Pidgeot again. Pidgeot, believe in yourself, let's use the storm attack again. Zhang Cheng chose to believe in his Pidgeot and let it try to condense the storm again. Hearing the encouragement of the trainer, Pidgeot's decadence due to failure was swept away, and it immediately cheered up and began to condense the storm attack. Pidgeot's body quickly accumulated flying energy. Under the control of Pidgeot, these flying energies slowly condensed into a huge storm. As Pidgeot's wings flapped, the storm skill carried huge power to blow the forest lizard. The storm attack flew forward, and after the dragon breath collided with the storm, it was directly dispersed after a brief stalemate. After the storm concentrated its dragon breath attack, it flew directly to the forest lizard's body and rolled the forest lizard into the sky. A large number of wind blades hit the forest lizard. After the storm dissipated, the forest lizard lost its center of gravity and fell to the ground. It had already suffered great damage. Pippi Bird, take advantage of the victory and use lightning flash. Seeing that the forest lizard still had a breath, Zhang Cheng quickly asked Pippi Bird to finish off the attack. He couldn't let the forest lizard run away. Beep. Pippi Bird also knew the current situation. Its entire body quickly turned into a flash of light and directly knocked the forest lizard, which had just stood firm, away. After being hit by this lightning flash, the forest lizard stood up with its injured body. Gana, however, due to the severe damage, the forest lizard finally couldn't hold on. It staggered and fell to the ground, losing its ability to fight. Forest lizard, you did a great job. Yiyan took out the Pokeball and took back the forest lizard, then said to Zhang Cheng, your tactics are indeed powerful, but I trust my Pokemon more. After that, Yiyan threw out his second Pokeball. Come out, Butterfree. Chapter 117 Fierce Battle. Yiyan sent out his main Pokemon, Butterfree. The Butterfree in front of him was much bigger than a few months ago, and its strength had also greatly improved, giving Zhang Cheng a feeling that it was difficult to deal with. Before the battle, Zhang Cheng still called the system to check the situation of Butterfree as usual. Name, Butterfree, level 19, gender, female, qualification, C attributes, flying, insect carrying props, wide angle mirror. After carrying it, the hit rate of Pokemon skills will be slightly improved. Basic skills, impact, insect bite, silk spinning, hardening, wind, telekinesis, hypnotic powder, poison powder, paralysis powder, illusion ray, silver cyclone. Learning skills, guard, shadow ball. Inherited skills, none. Characteristics, compound eyes. Because it has compound eyes, the hit rate of skills will be slightly improved. Notes, Butterfree, a butterfly Pokemon, is the evolved form of Metapod, and can bounce on the water with the scale powder on its wings. After Yiyan's Butterfree has become very powerful after training. He has mastered powerful psychic and insect skills, and also learned ghost attack skills. What surprised Zhang Cheng was that Butterfree actually carried a wide-angle lens. The price of this prop is not cheap, and I don't know how Yiyan got it, but Zhang Cheng didn't think much about it and immediately put his mind back to the battle. Come back, Pidgeot. Zhang Cheng took Pidgeot back. Now Pidgeot is not in a good state, and it will not have much advantage in fighting Butterfree. In addition, Yiyan also has a Heracross with super high physical attack. Zhang Cheng must keep Pidgeot's combat power to deal with Heracross. Mosquito Frog, it's decided to be you. After Zhang Cheng took back Pidgeot, the second Pokemon he sent out was also his main Pokemon. Yobo, after Mosquito Frog appeared and found that the opponent was Yiyan's Butterfree, his face began to become solemn. Mosquito Frog often trains with Butterfree, so he naturally knows how difficult the opponent is. Butterfree, Silver Cyclone. Yiyan took the lead and commanded Butterfree to use its latest insect-type trick, Silver Cyclone. Butterfree quickly flapped its wings, and the insect-type energy around it quickly condensed in front of it. Under Butterfree's control, these energies formed a small Silver Cyclone, which was mixed with Butterfree's scale powder. Mosquito Frog, pray for rain. Zhang Cheng directly asked Mosquito Frog to pray for rain. No matter what the situation, it is a good choice to give priority to rainy weather. Yobo Mosquito Frog condensed the water element energy around it. Under the control of Mosquito Frog, these energies slowly flew into the air, forming pieces of dark clouds, and then it began to drizzle in the sky. At the same time as the rainy weather formed, Butterfree's Silver Cyclone attacked. Because Mosquito Frog had just used the rain-making skill, it had no time to dodge and was directly hit by the Silver Cyclone. The power of the Silver Cyclone is still very considerable. The frontal attack of the Mosquito Frog almost lost nearly 1/3 of its health. Yobo with the blessing of the rainy weather, the Mosquito Frog easily gathered a large amount of water element energy, which surrounded the Mosquito Frog's body and formed a powerful force. After the energy was condensed, the Mosquito Frog carried all the water element energy and launched a powerful waterfall climbing attack on Butterfree. Looking at the powerful and fast attack of the Mosquito Frog, Yiyan wanted to use the defense to resist, but finally gave up this idea and chose to let Butterfree attack the Mosquito Frog. Butterfree, use the illusion beam. Butterfree used all its strength to condense the psychic energy. Under the guidance of Butterfree, these psychic energies turned into a string of light and flew towards the Mosquito Frog. The elves of both sides were hit by each other's skills. Because the Mosquito Frog had been attacked by the Silver Whirlwind before, it was now hard to take a Phantom Beam, and its health value was less than half. Since Butterfree was already in full health, and the Silver Cyclone's ability had just been improved, Butterfree's defense had also increased to a certain extent, so this powerful waterfall attack in rainy weather only knocked off half of Butterfree's health. The battle between the two sides began to enter a white-hot stage, and the life values of the elves were already more than half. Butterfree, wind attack. Butterfree flapped its wings and condensed a small whirlwind to attack Frog. Frog, quickly dodge backwards. Looking at Butterfree's wind attack, Zhang Cheng decisively let Frog dodge. The attack power of the wind skill is not strong, but Yiyan often mixes hypnotic powder in the wind skill. Being hit by the wind skill is acceptable, but if it is hit by hypnotic powder, it will be very dangerous. Yobo, Frog obeyed the trainer's command and quickly dodged this wind skill. Mosquito Frog, Heart's Eye. After dodging Butterfree's wind attack, there was a considerable distance between Mosquito Frog and Butterfree. Zhang Cheng took this opportunity to let Mosquito Frog use the Heart's Eye on the spot. Because of the distance, Butterfree could not interrupt Mosquito Frog's skill immediately. No, Butterfree, use your telekinesis attack. Seeing Mosquito Frog using the Heart's Eye on the spot, Yiyan hurriedly let Butterfree launch an attack. Chapter 118, Defeat Butterfree. Mosquito Frog, use Hypnosis. After the Eye of Heart was successfully condensed, Zhang Cheng directly let the Mosquito Frog launch Hypnosis to attack. With the blessing of the Eye of Heart, this Hypnosis is basically a sure hit. Yobo, the Mosquito Frog quickly spit out a series of hypnotic sound waves from its mouth, and the hypnotic sound waves quickly flew towards Butterfree. Butterfree, hold on. Butterfree condensed psychic energy and quickly condensed a barrier in front of it. The hypnotic sound waves also arrived in an instant and hit the barrier. Due to the barrier blocking, the hypnotic sound waves did not take effect. Butterfree used the hold skill to dissolve the Mosquito Frog's Eye of Heart plus Hypnosis. Yiyan had not let Butterfree use the hold skill just now, just to prevent Mosquito Frog's Hypnosis. Now the Hypnosis was dissolved, but the price was Butterfree's health. Zhang Cheng was not surprised to see Butterfree use Guard to dissolve the Hypnosis of Frog. Butterfree had not used guard since the beginning of the battle, and Zhang Cheng guessed that the opponent would use guard to avoid hypnosis. The reason why Zhang Cheng continued to attack was to force the opponent to use guard, because he knew very well that under the blessing of rainy weather, Frog's reckless skill was very fast, and even with the blessing of the Eye of the Heart, it could hit Butterfree. Frog, use reckless, Yobo. Frog gathered all its strength, and with the help of the acceleration characteristics of rainy days, it quickly came to Butterfree, who had just used guard, and hit it directly with a reckless skill. Frog, use the waterfall attack. After the reckless attack hit, Butterfree's health was already very low. Zhang Cheng planned to seize the opportunity and use the waterfall to defeat Butterfree. With Butterfree's body, it was absolutely impossible to withstand this waterfall attack under the blessing of rainy weather. Yobo, the frog absorbed a large amount of water element energy and gathered it around its body, then exerted force with its legs and quickly crashed into Butterfree. Butterfree, wait for the frog to get close and use the insect bite attack. Yiyan knew that it was difficult to dodge the opponent's attack in rainy weather. He had just used his defense, so now he could only fight hard. Yobu, hit by the insect bite attack, the frog endured the pain and launched a powerful waterfall attack. Butterfree was knocked out and fell to the ground and lost its ability to fight. The frog defeated Butterfree, but it also suffered great damage and no longer had much combat ability. Thank you for your hard work, Butterfree. Yiyan took back the Butterfree that lost its combat ability, and then said to Yiyan, I haven't seen you for a few months. I didn't expect your strength to be so strong. Your Pokémon is also very powerful. I just have an advantage in attributes. I feel that this battle is getting more and more interesting, Yiyan said while throwing his third Pokéball. Come out, Heracross. Heroes. The third Pokémon sent by Yiyan was Heracross. Heracross looked very motivated as soon as he appeared. Zhang Cheng also quickly opened the system to check the current situation of Heracross. Name, Heracross, level 19, gender, male, qualification, B+ attributes, bug, fighting, carrying props, none, basic skills, impact, horn bump, stare, hold on, push, seed machine gun, feint, swallow return, gradually break, double return. Learning skills, tile breaking, bodybuilding, inherited skills, super horn bump, endurance, earth throwing characteristics, bug premonition. When its own health is less than 1/3, the power of bug skills is increased to 1.5 times the original. Notes, Heracross, a one-horned Pokémon, has a gentle personality and great strength. It is good at letting its horn drill into the enemy's lower abdomen and then pick up the enemy. Its favorite food is the sweet branches flowing from trees. Heracross followed Yiyan out for training, and his level was also improved very quickly. Now he has mastered many powerful fighting skills and is very difficult to deal with. Mosquito Frog, use Raindrop as fast as possible. Rainy weather stopped after defeating Butterfree due to insufficient energy. Now Mosquito Frog's health has reached the bottom and it has no fighting power. Using Raindrop again can pave the way for the subsequent appearance of Pidgeot and Fluffy. Yobo, Mosquito Frog also knows this very well, so it quickly condenses water energy to form rainy weather in the sky. Because it is in an injured state, the energy of Mosquito Frog's Raindrop skill this time is much weaker than the last time, and the duration of Raindrop will be shorter. Heracross, use Swallow Return attack. Yiyan commanded Heracross to launch an attack, trying to interrupt Mosquito Frog's Raindrop. Heracross quickly flapped his wings and used the sharp horns on his head to slash at Mosquito Frog. But unfortunately, he was still a step too slow. When Swallow Return hit Mosquito Frog, the Raindrop skill had been successfully activated, and the entire battle area once again became rainy weather. After being hit by Swallow Return, Mosquito Frog also lost its combat ability. Now Yiyan still has 2 full status Pokémons, while Zhang Cheng has 2 full status Pokémons plus a half-health Pidgeot. Frog, you've done your best. Zhang Cheng took back the frog that had lost its ability to fight, and then took out another Pokéball. You should be planning to use Pidgeot to deal with my Heracross. Looking at the Pokéball in Zhang Cheng's hand, Yiyan said helplessly. Of course, for Heracross, who is 4 times weaker in flying, Pidgeot must be arranged, Zhang Cheng said while throwing the Pokéball in his hand. It's decided to be you, Pidgeot. Beep beep. After Pidgeot appeared, he found that his opponent was Heracross, who had been bullied by him before, and he was also a little surprised. Heroes, seeing Pidgeot appear, Heracross unconsciously took a step back. He was a little afraid of Pidgeot, because Heracross had basically never won in previous battles with Pidgeot. Heracross, don't be afraid. Pidgeot is not in good condition right now. Show some courage, Yukion encouraged Heracross, who was retreating. Hero, hearing the trainer's encouragement, Heracross overcame his fear and stepped forward to face Pidgeot. Chapter 119, Overcoming Fear. Good job, Heracross. Let's use the tile-splitting attack. Yukion launched an attack directly after seeing Heracross overcome his fear. Heracross is best at insect and fighting skills. Insect skills are not effective against Pidgeot, so Yukion decisively chooses to use fighting skills to attack. Heroes, Heracross gathered the fighting energy on his palm, and the whole palm turned into a blade and chopped at Pidgeot. Pidgeot used the storm attack directly. Zhang Cheng planned to take advantage of the rainy weather to defeat Heracross as quickly as possible. The longer the delay, the more disadvantageous it would be for teammate Pidgeot. Beep! Pidgeot quickly condensed the flying energy, and then slowly converted the energy into a storm. With the blessing of the rainy weather, Pidgeot became more proficient in controlling the storm energy, and soon it was successfully condensed. Pidgeot flapped its wings, and the storm blew towards Heracross with great power. Hero Heracross, who was caught in the storm, cried out in pain. He was flying at 4 times weaker and could not withstand the damage of the storm. Heracross, believe in yourself, you can do it. Aim at Pidgeot and use the tile-splitting attack. Hero, Heracross cheered up, and came to Pidgeot despite the damage of the storm, and his palm turned into a sharp blade to chop it. Heracross's physical attack was very high. After Pidgeot was hit by the tile-splitting attack, it was directly hit into a seriously injured state. Although Heracross resisted the storm skill, it also suffered a lot of damage, and its health value was less than a quarter. It must be said that this Heracross was very tenacious. It could even retain some health value after taking the storm skill. Zhang Cheng took out the Pokeball and prepared to take back the seriously injured Pidgeot, but after careful consideration, he took the Pokeball back. The biggest role of Pidgeot is to deal with Heracross. If Pidgeot is taken back now, the state of the next Pokemon will be greatly reduced by Heracross. Instead of doing this, it is better to let Pidgeot fight Heracross again and try to replace the opponent's Heracross. Zhang Cheng looked at Pidgeot in the field. Pidgeot knew the trainer's thoughts. It was also the kind of uncomfortable temperament. After nodding to Zhang Cheng, it was ready to continue attacking. Good job, Pidgeot. Let's use the strongest air blade. Zhang Cheng did not let Pidgeot use the storm. Using the storm requires huge energy. Pidgeot is not in a good state now. It may fail to use it, which will not be worth a loss. In the current state of Heracross, using the storm and the air blade are actually the same. As long as it can hit Heracross, it is likely to be carried away directly. Beep! Pidgeot condensed all the flying energy, and then attached the energy to its wings, rushing towards Heracross with amazing power. Heracross, hold on, you can do it. Yukion kept encouraging Heracross to let go of its fear of Pidgeot. Hero Heracross stood firmly in place, gathering the energy around him in front of his body, and barely retained the last bit of life to catch this air blade. Heracross used the horn attack. After resisting the last attack of Pidgeot, Heracross began to counterattack. This was a significant step for it. If it could defeat Pidgeot this time, Heracross would get rid of the fear in its heart. This was the fear that came from being dominated by flying elves during its larval stage. Only by defeating flying elves could Heracross come out of the shadow. Heracross gathered energy in front of the sharp horn and hit Pidgeot fiercely. Beep! After this fatal blow, Pidgeot directly lost its ability to fight. I see your efforts, Pidgeot. Take a good rest next. Zhang Cheng took back the Pidgeot that had lost its ability to fight. After defeating Pidgeot, Heracross's entire mental state changed and became more confident. Wrong sheep, it's your turn. The third elf Zhang Cheng sent out was Wrong sheep. Because the rainy weather had not ended yet, Zhang Cheng planned to let Wrong sheep go on stage and use thunder to attack. Wrong sheep, attack with thunder? Me. After receiving the order, Mimi quickly condensed the electric energy. Under the control of Wrong sheep, a large amount of electric energy was transformed into a thick electric column. The entire electric column flew towards Heracross with amazing destructive power. Heracross, hold on. Yukion looked at the terrifying power of this thunder and had to let Heracross use hold on to try to resist. Since Heracross had just used hold on once, continuous use led to an increase in the failure rate. In the end, Heracross was directly defeated by the thunder skill and fainted on the ground, losing his ability to fight. You are really great. Come back, Heracross. Looking at Heracross, who had lost his ability to fight, Yixian encouraged him and took him back. I have to say that your Pokemon are very strong, both in terms of warriors and attributes. You are very good, Yixian praised Zhang Cheng. In the current situation, Zhang Cheng still has 2 Pokémons in full state, while Yixian only has 1 left. According to normal analysis, Yixian basically has no chance of winning. The result is still unknown until the last moment. I believe your last Pokemon must be very strong. Faced with Yixian's praise and current advantages, Zhang Cheng did not get too complacent. Yixian has always been a very powerful trainer. Every battle will cause him a lot of trouble. Zhang Cheng has a hunch that Yixian's last Pokemon will be his strongest Pokemon so far. I also agree with what you said. Everything is unknown until the last moment. Yixian looked at the situation in front of him and said confidently, I have absolute confidence. Next, I will take out my Pokemon that can help me turn defeat into victory, 1 against 2, and reverse the situation. You said that. I am more and more looking forward to what your last Pokemon will be, Zhang Cheng said with anticipation. According to Zhang Cheng's analysis, Yixian's last Pokemon is definitely beyond the level of the 3 great Pokemon. Because Yixian said that he currently has no Pokemon over level 20. If it is just an ordinary Pokemon of the 3 great families, the highest level is 19. Yixian cannot have the confidence to fight 2 enemies alone with this Pokemon. After eliminating all the wrong options, Zhang Cheng had a definite answer in his mind. Chapter 122 Headed Tyrannosaurus. The last Pokemon released by Yixian is most likely a quasi-god Pokemon. If it is just an ordinary Pokemon, it will definitely not be his opponent. While Zhang Cheng was thinking about this, Yixian also threw out the last Pokeball. Double-headed Tyrannosaurus, prepare for battle. Looking at the Pokemon released by Yixian, Zhang Cheng was a little surprised. He thought it was a quasi-god Pokemon, but he didn't expect it to be a dragon Pokemon. How about it? Do you think I have a chance to turn the tables now? Yixian obviously trusted his double-headed Tyrannosaurus very much. Of course it's possible, but my Pokemon is not without a chance to win. After all, it's 2 against 1. While speaking, Zhang Cheng opened the system to check the information of this 2-headed Tyrannosaurus. Name, 2-headed Tyrannosaurus, level 17, gender, male, qualification, A+ attributes, dragon, evil, carrying props, none, basic skills, impact, dragon's fury, gathering key, bite, headbutt, dragon's breath, bite, learning skills, dragon tail, inherited skills, evil wave, lightning fang, fright, double-edged headbutt. Characteristics, vitality, its own attack power will be improved, but the hit rate will be reduced. Notes, 2-headed Tyrannosaurus, a violent Pokemon, is the evolution of a single-headed dragon. The relationship between the 2 heads is very stiff. Both want to eat more than the other head, so as to gain leadership. After reading the data of the 2-headed Tyrannosaurus, Zhang Cheng felt that it was acceptable. At least the opponent's level was not too high and it could still be dealt with. But what puzzled Zhang Cheng the most was how Yixian got a dragon-type quasi-god Pokemon. This kind of Pokemon is basically impossible to meet in the wild. Double Beast Tyrannosaurus used Dragon's Fury. Yixian launched an attack directly, not giving Zhang Cheng any time to react. The 2-headed Tyrannosaurus gathered a large amount of dragon energy, which was sucked into the dragon's mouth by the giant halberd, and then spit out fiercely. Seeing Yixian attacking, Zhang Cheng had to put his thoughts aside and concentrate on the game. Wrong sheep, use guard. Without knowing the opponent's attack power, Zhang Cheng did not dare to fight rashly, and directly used guard to confirm the opponent's attack power. Wrong sheep gathered energy to form a barrier in front, blocking the dragon's fury from the 2-headed Tyrannosaurus. The dragon's fury hit the barrier, causing a huge explosion. After the smoke from the explosion dissipated, the guard skill had ended, and the dragon's fury did not cause any damage. Looking at the attack of the 2-headed Tyrannosaurus, Zhang Cheng felt some pressure. If the wrong sheep was hit by the dragon skill head-on, he would definitely be seriously injured. Dino Grevo used the dragon tail attack. Upon hearing the trainer's order, the D-Grevo gathered all the dragon energy in its body to its tail, and then launched a dragon tail attack on the fluffy sheep. Fluffy sheep used the thunder trick. Looking at the D-Grevo that attacked again, Zhang Cheng planned to use the rainy weather that was about to disappear to launch another thunder attack. The fluffy sheep gathered all the strength in its body and frantically absorbed the electric energy. Under the control of the fluffy sheep, These electric energies quickly transformed into thick lightning. After the lightning was formed, it was controlled by the fluffy sheep and struck the Degrevo. The speed of the thunder attack was very fast. The Degrevo was hit by thunder while using its dragon tail. The Degrevo felt a little painful and could not move for a while. Dino, hold on, don't be afraid of the electric trick, use the dragon tail attack. Hearing the trainer's order, the Direx endured the pain caused by the thunder skill, gathered the energy on the dragon tail again, and threw it at the fluffy sheep. Meow. After being attacked by the dragon tail, the fluffy sheep's health value dropped by half, while the Direx only lost a quarter of its health value. The effect of the electric trick is not good for dragon-type Pokémon. Dragon-type Pokémon have resistance to water, fire, grass and electric skills. Now his frog has lost its combat ability. It is very difficult to deal with dragon-type Pokémon without ice skills. Fluffy sheep, 100,000 volts. Electric skill attacks are not effective against dragon-type Pokémon, but Zhang Cheng has no other choice but to continue using electric skills, because the fluffy sheep is best at only electric skills. What he needs to do now is to try to avoid a state of consuming the opponent's Direx and use a round-robin battle to wear it out. The rainy weather had just ended, so Zhang Cheng chose to use 100,000 volts this time. Compared with thunder attacks, 100,000 volts has a higher hit rate and is more stable, but the same power will be much lower. What Zhang Cheng needs most now is a stable attack. Thunder attacks have the risk of failure, so using 100,000 volts is the safest choice at present. The woolly sheep continued to accumulate electrical energy. Under the control of the woolly sheep, these absorbed electrical energies were converted into yellow electric currents, which seemed to have great lethality. After the electric current was formed, the woolly sheep controlled these powerful destructive currents and flew towards the two-headed Tyrannosaurus in front. Two-headed Tyrannosaurus, use the dragon tail attack again. Hearing the command of the trainer, the two-headed Tyrannosaurus skillfully condensed the dragon energy. Under the control of the two-headed Tyrannosaurus, these dragon energies slowly gathered on the dragon tail. After the energy was condensed, the two-headed Tyrannosaurus quickly threw the dragon tail to the woolly sheep on the ground. As the dragon's tail swung at the woolly sheep, 100,000 volts also fell on the body of the two-headed Tyrannosaurus. The woolly sheep was directly thrown away by the dragon's tail and lost its ability to fight. On the other side, the two-headed Tyrannosaurus was only slightly injured because it was resistant to the electric system. Even the thunder skill was resisted by it, so 100,000 volts was naturally not a problem. Dragon-type Pokémon are really powerful. You did a good job, woolly sheep. Come back and rest. Zhang Cheng took the woolly sheep, which had lost its ability to fight, back to the Pokéball. The mission of the woolly sheep had been completed. Now the health of the two-headed Tyrannosaurus had lost 1/3, and his chances of winning were still very high. How about it? I didn't disappoint you with this last Pokemon, did I? Seeing the two-headed Tyrannosaurus easily solve the woolly sheep, Yi-Yan said. This was the first time Yi-Yan let the two-headed Tyrannosaurus compete in a match. Long before the battle, Yi-Yan was looking forward to the two-headed Tyrannosaurus showing its power. Now it seems that he was not disappointed. Your Tyrannosaurus is indeed very powerful. When it evolves to its final form, it has a racial value of 600. It is difficult for ordinary elves to fight against it. However, Zhang Cheng changed the subject and continued, it is only a Tyrannosaurus Rex now. It is not yet strong enough to be invincible. Oh? Really? Yi-Yan said expectantly, then let me see how you can defeat my Tyrannosaurus Rex. Chapter 121 The Correct Use of Poison. Swamp, it's you. Zhang Cheng released his last Pokemon. Now both sides have only one Pokemon left. Swamp has the advantage in health, but Tyrannosaurus has the advantage in race value and attributes. Yi-Yan is still very confident in his Tyrannosaurus. No one can doubt the strength of Dragon Pokemon. If Dragon Pokemon were not so strong, they would not be monopolized by big families and alliance officials. It would be very difficult for ordinary people to get a Dragon Pokemon. Come on, let's fight it out. Yi-Yan saw Zhang Cheng released his Pokemon and couldn't wait to start fighting. Tyrannosaurus, use the bite attack. Yi-Yan chose to change his attack strategy and use the evil attribute bite skill to attack. Tyrannosaurus has two attributes, Dragon and Evil, and the damage of the evil attribute bite skill is also considerable. According to the instructions of the trainer, Tyrannosaurus gathered a large amount of gray evil attribute energy, and then attached this energy to its fangs and bit the swamp below. Seeing the two-headed Tyrannosaurus getting closer and closer to the swamp leaper, Zhang Cheng felt that the time was right and gave the order to the swamp leaper. Swamp leaper, use the poison. Gonna swamp leaper absorbed a large amount of poison energy around its body, and when the two-headed Tyrannosaurus approached, it directly converted the poison energy into dark purple poison. While the two-headed Tyrannosaurus's fangs bit the swamp leaper, it was also hit by the poisonous attack. Under the bite attack of the two-headed Tyrannosaurus, swamp leaper made a painful sound and suffered a lot of damage, but it was not to the point of losing its combat ability. Looking at the injury of swamp leaper, Zhang Cheng breathed a sigh of relief. He was actually a little worried that swamp leaper would be killed instantly if it took the skill. Toxic. Yian looked at the two-headed Tyrannosaurus full of toxins and said disapprovingly, even if you successfully use the poison, you have no chance. Even if the swampleap fish learns to defend, it cannot use it continuously. With the current state of the swampleap fish, it can only withstand one attack at most. How can you drag my two-headed Tyrannosaurus to death? To tell you the truth, when your two-headed Tyrannosaurus has not defeated the swampleap fish after being poisoned, the game can be declared over, Zhang Cheng said confidently. Oh? Do you mean you still have the chance to turn the tables? Then let me open my eyes. Yian directly commanded the two-headed Tyrannosaurus to attack. He didn't want to waste time, which would be unfriendly to the two-headed Tyrannosaurus with a poisonous body. Two-headed Tyrannosaurus, use dragon breath. The two-headed Tyrannosaurus once again began to condense dragon energy. A large amount of dragon energy was absorbed into the body of the two-headed Tyrannosaurus, and then turned into dragon breath and spit out. The spit dragon breath quickly floated to the swampleap fish in front. Swampfish, use guard. Gonna swampfish condensed all the energy in its body and formed a transparent barrier in front of it. The seemingly weak barrier easily blocked the dragon's breath. After the two-headed Tyrannosaurus launched an attack, the toxins in its body burst out again, and its health dropped faster and faster. Swampfish's guard skill has just been used. How can you resist the next move? Yian thought secretly in his heart. At present, the effect of the poison has not reached a very terrifying level. The two-headed Tyrannosaurus still has half of its health. Yian believes that swampfish cannot hold on until the two-headed Tyrannosaurus is poisoned to death. Even if the next attack of the two-headed Tyrannosaurus is dodged, the two-headed Tyrannosaurus will not fall down, and it can continue to attack. With this idea, Yian currently has no sense of crisis. Two-headed Tyrannosaurus, use dragon tail. Yian attacked again. He didn't believe that swampfish could still dodge this time. The two-headed Tyrannosaurus absorbed a large amount of dragon energy and once again gathered the energy at its tail. The whole body turned backwards, and the dragon tail smashed towards the swampleap fish with great power. Looking at the two-headed Tyrannosaurus attacking again, everything was under Zhang Cheng's control. Swampleap fish, wide area defense. Wide area defense? What skill is this? Hearing Zhang Cheng's command, Yian was a little confused. He had never heard of this skill. Yian didn't believe that this so-called wide area defense could block the attack of the dragon tail of the two-headed Tyrannosaurus. You will know what wide area defense is soon, Zhang Cheng said in suspense. Swampleap fish condensed the energy of its whole body and formed a barrier similar to the guard in front. The difference between the two is that the wide area defense barrier has a larger range and can protect two elves at the same time, while the guard can only protect itself. The dragon tail smashed on the wide area defense barrier with great power. The huge force hit the barrier, and the barrier began to shake under the huge force, but it never broke. It is still unlikely to break the wide area defense and the guard barrier at the same level. The attack of the two-headed Tyrannosaurus was resolved by the swampleap fish again. The poisonous toxins burst out, and the health of the two-headed Tyrannosaurus was less than half. Looking at the wide area defense used by the swampleap fish, Yian felt something was wrong. The effect of this wide area defense and the defense could not be said to be somewhat similar, but it could only be said to be exactly the same. His attack could not break the defense of the barrier at all. I don't believe that I can withstand the attack of the two-headed Tyrannosaurus every time. Yian continued to issue commands unconvinced. Two-headed Tyrannosaurus, use the dragon tail again. At this time, the two-headed Tyrannosaurus was already somewhat uncomfortable with the torture of the poison, but it still insisted on condensing energy. It also knew that the current state could not be dragged on, and there was no need to quickly defeat the swampleap fish. The two-headed Tyrannosaurus roared, raised its morale, and then desperately condensed the dragon energy. Finally, these dragon energies gathered at the dragon tail, and the dragon tail flew towards the swamp leap fish with a huge sense of oppression. Swamp, stay calm and don't panic. If we hold on for a little longer, the Tyrannosaurus will be poisoned to death, Zhang Cheng comforted the swamp in the field. Facing the oppressive Tyrannosaurus, Swamp must be under pressure. Hold on, Ghana. Hearing the trainer's comfort, Swamp became alert and began to absorb energy to condense a protective barrier. A large amount of energy rushed to Swamp, and then a transparent barrier formed in front of Swamp. The dragon's tail followed closely and hit the barrier hard, but unfortunately it still had no effect. The barrier that held the skill was like an insurmountable chasm. After the attack missed, the highly toxic toxin increased again. The state of Tyrannosaurus was getting worse and worse. Seeing that its health had reached a bottom, if the next attack could not hit. Chapter 122, The Winner. Looking at the situation in front of him, Yian felt that he was trapped in a dead end. If he couldn't remove the poison, there would be no chance of a comeback. However, Yian couldn't accept giving up directly. Yian gritted his teeth and had to continue attacking the double beast Tyrannosaurus. If this attack could hit, he would win. If it was still successfully resisted, there was nothing he could do. Facing the poison and infinite defense, Yian really experienced what despair was. Now he could also rotate with other elves. The damage of the poison was getting higher and higher. Double-headed Tyrannosaurus, used the bite attack. The double-headed Tyrannosaurus endured the pain of the poison, quickly condensed the evil attribute energy, and then attached the condensed energy to its fangs, and quickly bit the swampleap fish. This collision will determine the final victory or defeat. Swampfish, believe in yourself, use wide area defense again, Ghana. Swampfish nodded to show that he was fine, and then began to concentrate on defense. A large amount of energy was condensed into a wide barrier by Swampfish. This barrier seemed weak, but it was actually indestructible. The two-headed Tyrannosaurus rushed to the barrier and used all its energy to bite it. The fangs carrying huge evil energy bit the barrier. There was a click-click sound on the barrier. The fangs and the barrier collided crazily. Under the crazy attack of the two-headed Tyrannosaurus, the barrier was finally broken. However, while the barrier was repelled, the energy of the bite attack had been consumed. This attack still did not defeat Swampfish. The toxins on the body of the two-headed Tyrannosaurus increased again, and directly spread to the whole body. The outbreak of toxins directly emptied the health of the two-headed Tyrannosaurus. The two-headed Tyrannosaurus fell to the ground and lost its ability to fight. The game was also decided. Double-headed Tyrannosaurus, you have done very well, come back. Yian took back the double-headed Tyrannosaurus, and then said to Zhang Cheng, it seems that I have not done enough homework. I didn't expect that there is a way to play with poison and double defense, I just won by luck. If the swampleap fish didn't resist the first wave of attacks from the double-headed Tyrannosaurus, I would have lost directly. Zhang Cheng did not feel proud of his victory. Through this battle, I feel that our elves are getting closer and closer to level 20. According to our current training plan, we will definitely reach level 20 after the final exam. Then we can go directly to the challenge tower. Zhang Cheng also felt that there was no problem. After the two finished the battle, they sent the elves to the treatment room for treatment to recover from the injuries caused by the battle. After settling the elves, the two returned to the dormitory to rest, and they had to go to class tomorrow. After returning to the dormitory, Zhang Cheng simply washed and dressed, and then went to sleep to keep his energy. In the next few days, Zhang Cheng and Yian attended classes during the day and trained together at night to improve the strength of the elves. During the training, Zhang Cheng also asked Yian about the origin of the two-headed Tyrannosaurus, but Yian always evaded the question and didn't seem to want to talk about it. Seeing that Yian didn't want to talk about it, Zhang Cheng had to give up the idea and didn't bother about the two-headed Tyrannosaurus. The day before the final exam, Zhang Cheng's frog and Pidgeot both reached level 20, and Yian's Butterfree and Heracross also reached level 20. The two agreed to go to the challenge tower together to obtain the title of ordinary trainer after the exam. The next morning, Zhang Cheng got up early and went to the classroom, because today was the last day of the first half of the third year of high school, and it was also the time for the final exam. This year's final exam of Zhang Cheng No. 1 Middle School is just a simple theoretical knowledge exam, and there is no battle ranking as in the past. I think it's because the midterm exam was held more grandly, and the final exam is relatively casual. It's better to finish the exam early so that everyone can have a holiday. After living in the school for half a year, the students are also very homesick. For Zhang Cheng, this exam was naturally not difficult. After the test papers were handed out, he finished them all in a few seconds. After finishing the test paper, Zhang Cheng did not hand it in advance, but sat in his seat and waited silently for the end of the test. A pleasant bell rang, the test was over, and the students ushered in the long-awaited winter vacation. After handing in the test paper, Zhang Cheng returned to the dormitory, tidied up briefly, and then went to the outside of the school to take a taxi home. After returning home, his mother had prepared Zhang Cheng's favorite meals. Looking at the table of food, Zhang Cheng's eyes were a little wet, and the feeling of family affection was really good. Eat slowly, and I can cook for you every day at home in the future. Looking at Zhang Cheng's wolfing down, his mother said distressedly. Okay, Zhang Cheng responded while continuing to eat. After dinner, Zhang Cheng and his mother chatted briefly about some family matters, and then returned to his bedroom. He wanted to clean and tidy up the room, but found that his mother had already helped him clean up. Looking at the tidy room, Zhang Cheng secretly vowed to become strong as soon as possible and reunite the family. After arriving home, Zhang Cheng fell directly on the bed and fell asleep. Every day's life was a state of tension and exhaustion. Zhang Cheng planned to have a good rest. He slept until the evening, and his mother woke him up after preparing dinner. After finishing dinner, Zhang Cheng went back to the room and prepared to contact Yi-Tian through his mobile phone. Yi-Tian, don't forget to go to the challenge tower tomorrow morning, Zhang Cheng sent a message to Yi-Tian's chat box. Don't worry, how could I forget? Let's meet at the challenge tower tomorrow, Yi-Tian replied immediately. Since the two lived in different directions, it was fastest to meet near the challenge tower. No problem, try to go early tomorrow. It will take a long time to take the bus. If you go late, it will be evening when you come back. Zhang Cheng planned to leave early. Yi-Tian replied with an okay expression, indicating that there was no problem. After confirming tomorrow's arrangements, Zhang Cheng ended the conversation with Yi-Tian and began to read the latest news. After browsing for a while, Zhang Cheng saw some meaningless news. He was not interested. It was not convenient to train at home. After thinking for a long time, he found nothing to do and could only play games to kill time. So Zhang Cheng found Baiyuling. Baiyuling was a little surprised to see Zhang Cheng take the initiative to find her to play games. You know, every time she asked Zhang Cheng to play games, Zhang Cheng was unwilling. She didn't expect that he would take the initiative to find her to play games today. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 123 General Level Trainer Assessment. The next morning, Zhang Cheng got up and washed up at the urging of the alarm clock. After tidying up, he went to the living room and found that his mother had already prepared a hearty breakfast. After breakfast, Zhang Cheng found a taxi and rushed to the challenge tower. Today was the day he and Yi-Tian agreed to get a normal level trainer together. 2 hours later, Zhang Cheng came to the challenge tower. After waiting for a while, Yi-Tian also rushed here. Let's go. Go directly to the challenge tower. After seeing Yi-Tian, Zhang Cheng went directly to the challenge tower. Because he had been here once, Zhang Cheng was still relatively clear about the process here. He came to the service desk in the lobby and gave his Pokémon encyclopedia to the staff for registration. After explaining his purpose, the staff asked the two to wait for a while. After waiting for about 10 minutes, a staff member took Zhang Cheng and Yi-Tian to the assessment site. The two were divided into different rooms, which had the title of the Alliance Assessment Officer. Zhang Cheng took the lead in pushing open a door on the left and walked directly into it. There was a huge battlefield in the room, which was basically the same as when Zhang Cheng came last time. Classmate, are you here to challenge the title of Ordinary Trainer? The examiner looked at Zhang Cheng and asked. Yes, I am here to challenge the title of Ordinary Trainer. Sorry for bothering you, Senior, Zhang Cheng said politely. Haha, no trouble, this is my job. Seeing Zhang Cheng was very polite, the examiner was in a good mood. Are you ready? If there is no problem, we will start now, the examiner asked Zhang Cheng about his situation. No problem, Senior, let's start. Zhang Cheng took out the Pokeball and prepared. Okay, seeing that Zhang Cheng was ready, the examiner continued to talk about the rules of the battle. The ordinary trainer title assessment is a 2v2 Pokemon duel. There are 4 types of battle venues: ice, grass, water, and rock. The system will randomly draw them. While introducing the rules, the examiner pressed a button beside him, and then the floor of the battle venue flipped a circle, and an area full of rocks appeared. Looking at the situation in front of him, Zhang Cheng knew that the battle was using a rock venue this time. The water venue would definitely be advantageous for him, and it would be a pity if he didn't draw it. It's decided to be you, Frog. Zhang Cheng directly sent Frog as the starting player. A Mosquito frog? It's been well cultivated. The examiner looked at Zhang Cheng's Mosquito frog and could feel that this Mosquito frog was very strong. Armorbird, prepare for battle. The examiner sent out a Steel-type Pokemon Armorbird. Looking at the Armorbird that appeared, Zhang Cheng quickly opened the system to scan its various data. Name, Armorbird, level 20, gender, female, qualification, C+ attributes, steel, flying, carried props, none, basic skills, staring, pecking, throwing sand, metal claws, air blade, random attack, faint learning skills, swallow return, free fall, inherited skills, invisible rock, pecking drill. Characteristics, strong. Even if attacked by the opponent's moves, it will not be knocked down by one hit, and the moves that kill with one hit will have no effect. Notes, Armorbird, a Steel-type Pokemon, builds its nest in thorns, and its feathers that grow up injured in thorns are as hard as steel. The 20th level Armored Bird has average qualifications and inherited skills. The league's assessment requirements for the trainer title are not very high. As long as you can defeat those with average qualifications at the same level, you can get the title. Armored Bird, use metal claws. The examiner's face became serious after the battle began, and he took the lead in attacking. Armored Bird began to condense the steel energy that it was familiar with, gathered all of this steel energy on its sharp claws, and then flapped its wings to grab the frog. Frog, hold on. Facing the first attack of Armored Bird, Zhang Cheng planned to defend first and respond to changes with the same. Yobo Frog absorbed energy frantically, and then converted this energy into a barrier to resist the attack of Armored Bird. The metal claws of Armored Bird hit the barrier, making a harsh collision sound. No matter how Armored Bird attacked, the barrier was intact. Frog, use Rain Prayer, and then follow up with a waterfall climbing attack. Seeing that the metal claws of Armored Bird were dissolved, Zhang Cheng began to attack actively. Yobo, the Mosquito frog condensed a large amount of water element energy, and then used its own power to send this water element energy to the air, forming rainy weather on the battlefield. After the rainy weather was formed, the power and speed of the Mosquito frog's skills were greatly improved. Yobo the Mosquito frog continued to condense water element energy around its body, and then crashed into the Armored Bird in the air with great power. Armored Bird, use the pecking drill. The examiner knew that the power of the Mosquito frog's waterfall climbing attack was very powerful, so he also let the Armored Bird use the most powerful skill it could use at present to attack. The Armored Bird absorbed a large amount of flying energy, and then attached the energy to its wings and mouth, and then dived down in a rotating manner in the air to attack the Mosquito frog. The Armored Bird's pecking drill attack and the Mosquito frog's waterfall climbing attack collided with each other. Because both sides were close-range collision moves, they were both knocked out by the mutual attack. Both Frog and Armorbird were hurt to some extent, but with a bonus of rainy weather, Armorbird was more seriously injured than Frog. Not bad. As a rookie trainer who has just come into contact with Pokémon, you actually know how to use the weather to fight. The examiner was very satisfied with Zhang Cheng's performance. Thank you, Senior. I only know a little bit. Frog, use the bubble beam. Zhang Cheng continued to attack, not giving Armorbird a chance to breathe. Yobo Frog quickly condensed water element energy. Under Frog's control, this energy formed a large amount of foam in its mouth, and the foam turned into a ray of light and shot towards Armorbird. Armorbird, swallow return. Under the command of the examiner, Armorbird launched a flying swallow return attack, carrying huge flying energy and quickly came in front of Frog. As Armorbird approached, the bubble beam hit its body. Armorbird endured the pain brought by the attack and launched the swallow return attack. The two sides had another fierce clash. The Frog took advantage of the rainy weather and the power of its skills was enhanced. After these attacks, the Armored Bird's health was much lower than that of the Frog. Frog, Eye of the Heart. Yobo the Frog stood in place and gathered energy, preparing to use the Eye of the Heart to increase the hit rate of its next attack. Chapter 124 Invisible Rock Tactics. Armored Bird, use the random attack. Seeing that the Mosquito Frog was using the Eye of Heart, the examiner directly ordered the Armored Bird to attack and try to interrupt the Mosquito Frog. The Armored Bird directly gathered energy on its hard beak and pecked at the Mosquito Frog. Yobo, the Armored Bird's attack was still a step slow. The Mosquito Frog's Eye of Heart was condensed. Seeing the attacking Armored Bird, it directly used the Hypnotic spell. A large amount of hypnotic sound waves directly hit the Armored Bird that rushed forward. After being hit by the hypnotic sound waves, the Armored Bird entered a sleeping state and fell directly to the ground. Mosquito Frog, take advantage of the victory and use the waterfall attack. Yobo Yobo, the Mosquito Frog condensed a large amount of water energy, and then condensed this water energy around its body, forming a powerful attack force to hit the sleeping Armored Bird. The Armored Bird was caught off guard by this waterfall attack and was directly hit into a state of serious injury, and at the same time woke up from its sleeping state. Armored Bird, use Stealth Rock. Seeing that Armored Bird was in a very bad state, the examiner asked it to make its final contribution. Using Stealth Rock would allow Zhang Cheng's next Pokémon to take a little damage when it appeared. Armored Bird gathered the last of its energy, which turned into a rock and inserted into the battlefield. Mosquito Frog, use Mount Tai to kill it. Looking at Armored Bird using Stealth Rock, Zhang Cheng asked Mosquito Frog to attack and defeat Armored Bird, and not let Armored Bird use other skills. Yobo, Mosquito Frog gathered all its energy, then suddenly jumped into the sky and hit Armored Bird hard. Mosquito Frog defeated the remaining health of Armored Bird with a Mount Tai, and Armored Bird lost its ability to fight. At present, Zhang Cheng has a great advantage. Mosquito Frog still has nearly half of its health, while the opponent has only one Pokémon left. Come back, Armored Bird. The examiner took back the Armored Bird and released his second Pokémon. Come out, Roaring Bomb. Student, this is your last challenge. If you defeat this Roaring Bomb, you can get the title of entry-level trainer, the examiner said to Zhang Cheng. Zhang Cheng opened the system to check the data of Roaring Bomb. Name, Roaring Bomb. Level 20. Gender, male. Qualification, B. Attribute, general. Carrying props, none. Basic skills, slap, echo, scare, long howl, harsh sound, ultrasonic, bite. Learning skills, rockfall, tile splitting. Inherited skills, charming voice, bar toss, reckless. Characteristics, soundproof. By shielding the sound, it will not be harmed by sound-based skills. Notes, Roaring Bomb, allowed Pokémon, full of momentum, roaring with strides. It will emit ultrasonic waves with power that can blow up a house. The second Pokémon sent by the examiner is a level 20 Roaring Bomb, with general attributes and above-average qualifications, and is considered a somewhat powerful opponent. Mosquito Frog, continuous slap. Zhang Cheng launched an attack directly. He had the advantage at the moment, so he could just fight head-on. Even if the Mosquito Frog was defeated, there was still Pidgeot as a guarantee. Yobo Yobo, the Mosquito Frog gathered energy in its hands, and then quickly approached Roaring Bomb, ready to give it a few big slaps. Roaring Bomb, use the slap throw. The examiner looked at the Mosquito Frog that was approaching, and calmly directed Roaring Bomb to launch an attack. Roaring Bomb quickly condensed fighting energy around its body, then raised both hands to grab the Mosquito Frog that was about to use a continuous slap, and then Roaring Bomb quickly exerted force with both hands to throw the Mosquito Frog out of the battlefield. According to the rules of the battle, if a Pokémon is forced out of the field by the opponent, it needs to replace a new Pokémon. The fighting type slap throw is a skill that can force the opponent to replace a Pokémon. Seeing this, Zhang Cheng finally understood the examiner's strategy. He planned to use the invisible rock left by Armored Bird, and then use the Baktao skill of Roaring Bomb to force himself to rotate Pokémon so that his two Pokémon would be attacked by the invisible rock in rotation. Thinking of this, Zhang Cheng's mouth curled up slightly. This trick is indeed powerful, but there is also a disadvantage, that is, the invisible rock cannot be effective for flying Pokémon, and his second Pokémon is Pidgeot. Zhang Cheng took back the Mosquito Frog that was knocked out of the field, and then released his second combat Pokémon, Pidgeot. It's decided to be you, Beep. After Pidgeot appeared, it was indeed not hurt by the invisible rock. The examiner was also a little surprised to see that Zhang Cheng's second Pokémon was Pidgeot, so the effect of the invisible rock could not be brought into play. Roaring Bomb, use Charming Voice. Seeing that the combination of Baktao and invisible rock was not effective, The examiner directly changed the attack method and used sound-based skills to attack. Roaring Bomb quickly absorbed the fairy energy, then gathered this energy in its mouth, and then emitted an aggressive sound wave to fly towards Pidgeot. Pippy Bird, let's use the storm attack. The rainy weather created by the Mosquito frog has not completely dissipated. Zhang Cheng took this opportunity to let Pippy Bird use the storm. The hit rate of the storm skill used at this time will be greatly improved. Beep beep. Pippy Bird quickly flapped its wings to gather the energy of the flight system. These energies were controlled by Pippy Bird and turned into a huge storm. Under Pippy Bird's control, the storm flew towards the Roar Bomb with huge destructive power. The charming voice was directly transmitted to Pippy Bird's ears through the air. After hearing this hurtful sound, Pippy Bird also cried out in pain. On the other side, the Roar Bomb was hit by the storm skill at this time and was directly swept into the sky. After a large number of wind blades attacked the Roar Bomb, it was thrown out. After the Roar Bomb was hit by this powerful blow, its health value dropped by half. Roar Bomb, use another Batwas attack. The examiner planned to repeat the same trick, knock Pippy Bird out of the field, and then replace the Mosquito frog. Hearing the examiner's order, Roaring Bomb quickly and skillfully gathered fighting energy, and then concentrated the energy in his hands. The Mosquito frog has no ability to fly. If it goes on the field again, it will be hurt by the invisible rock. Zhang Cheng naturally can't let him succeed. Pippy Bird, use the hold skill to defend. Beep beep. Pippy Bird quickly gathered the energy around it, and then turned the energy into an indestructible barrier in front of it. Roaring Bomb rushed directly in front of Pippy Bird and grabbed Pippy Bird's wings with both hands. Unfortunately, just when it was about to touch Pippy Bird, a barrier suddenly appeared, blocking Roaring Bomb's hands. Roaring Bomb's hands hit the barrier directly, and did not cause any damage to the barrier. Chapter 125 Ordinary Trainer. Pidgeot, use Steel Wings. After defusing Roaring Bomb's Batwas attack, Zhang Cheng directly ordered Pidgeot to launch an attack. He wanted to make a quick decision and win the title of entry-level trainer. Beep beep. Pidgeot flapped its wings and absorbed energy crazily. The energy attached to Pidgeot's wings, and the entire wings were accompanied by a silver luster, and the Steel Wing skill was activated. Roaring Bomb, Rock Slide attack. The examiner directly ordered Roaring Bomb to use the Rock-type skill attack that restrained Pidgeot. Roaring Bomb used the energy of rock attributes in the air to create a large amount of rocks, and the rocks smashed towards Pidgeot below. Pidgeot vibrated its wings to attack Roaring Bomb. Roaring Bomb's health was almost at the bottom after being attacked by Steel Wings, while Pidgeot was hit by a Rock Slide when it was in full state, and now its health was more than half. If Zhang Cheng only had Pidgeot, he might still worry about Roaring Bomb's comeback, but now his Poliwag still has combat power, so Zhang Cheng can exchange blood without restraint. Pidgeot, use Lightning Flash. Beep. Roar Bomb, use Rock Slide again. Pidgeot rushed towards the low-health Roar Bomb at the fastest speed. Roar Bomb was knocked away by Pidgeot just as he was about to counterattack, and the last bit of health was also emptied. Roar Bomb lost its combat ability, which also meant that Zhang Cheng passed the assessment of ordinary trainers. At the same time, in another battle room, Yiyan was also fighting with the examiner. Do you have any questions about the rules of the battle? The examiner asked Yiyan. No, I'm ready, Yiyan said confidently. Seeing that Yiyan was ready, the examiner directly pressed the button beside him, and a green grass-type battlefield appeared between the two. Grass-type battlefield, Skank, it's decided to be you. The examiner directly released his first Pokémon. Butterfree, get ready to fight. Yiyan sent out his vanguard Butterfree. Yiyan trusted his Butterfree very much. Butterfree was Yiyan's first Pokémon and the Pokémon he was most familiar with and had the best understanding with. Butterfree, use Swallow Return. Seeing that the opponent sent out the Grass and Poison Skank, Yiyan decisively chose to use flying skills to attack. Butterfree condensed energy on its body and then quickly rushed towards Skank. Skank, Leaf Blade. Skank had only learned Grass-type skills so far, and although it was not very effective against Butterfree, it had to attack. Skank condensed a large amount of Grass element energy, which turned into 3 Leaf Blades. Under Skank's control, the 3 Leaf Blades quickly flew towards Butterfree. Butterfree, which had 4 times the resistance to Grass, was fearless and rushed towards Skank directly despite the damage from the Leaf Blades. The Flying Leaf Knife hit Butterfree, but it didn't cause much damage. Butterfree came to the side of Smelly Flower at this time, and hit it with a Swallow Return attack. directly knocking off half of Smelly Flower's health. Come back, Smelly Flower. The examiner took Smelly Flower back. Facing the opponent's Butterfree, Smelly Flower had no countermeasures at all. Come out, Ninetales. The examiner released his second spirit, the Fire-type Ninetales. The Fire-type skills of the Ninetales have a good striking effect on Butterfree. Ninetales, Flame Whirlpool. The examiner directly commanded the Ninetales to attack. A large amount of Fire-type energy gathered in front of the Ninetales, and the Fire-type energy slowly transformed into scorching flames. The flames formed of vortex and surrounded Butterfree. Butterfree, use Hold. Facing the skill attack of the Fire-type, Yeon did not dare to underestimate it, and commanded Butterfree to use Hold to resist. Ninetales, with its flame energy, passed through the whirlwind and came to Butterfree, and rammed Butterfree fiercely. After being hit by a Fire-type energy-charged flame attack, Butterfree was also seriously injured, while Ninetales was only slightly injured by the wind skill. Flying skills don't have such a good effect on Ninetales, the examiner said lightly. He thought that after Yeon suppressed the Stinky Flower with flying skills, he wanted to suppress the Ninetales with this trick. In his heart, he thought that Yeon was a little whimsical. Oh? It really has no effect. Yeon raised the corner of his mouth slightly and asked with a smile. Ninetales, Spark Attack. The examiner didn't intend to talk nonsense with Yeon. He wanted to prove everything with actions. But after waiting for a while, the Ninetales still didn't launch an attack. The examiner felt something was wrong and found that the Ninetales slowly lay on the ground and fell asleep. This. Is it hypnotic powder? The examiner said in surprise. Yeon once again used the routine of wind rising and hypnotic powder. This examiner had never encountered such a situation before and was also stunned. Butterfield, Illusion Ray. Yeon also intended to use actual actions to tell the other party whether the wind rising skill was effective. Butterfield began to condense psychic energy. Because the nine-tailed fox was in a sleeping state, Butterfield was not in a hurry to attack, but condensed its own psychic energy to the maximum extent. After maximizing the power of the illusion ray, Butterfield flapped its wings, and a large amount of psychic energy turned into rays and accurately hit the sleeping nine-tailed fox. After the nine-tailed fox was hit by this powerful blow, it was directly hit to a state of residual health, and at the same time suffered severe pain, and the nine-tailed fox also lifted the sleeping state. Butterfield, telekinesis attack. Yeon continued to pursue the victory, intending to defeat the nine-tailed fox with residual health as soon as possible, so that he would have a huge advantage next time. Butterfree began to condense psychic energy, which turned into a string of telekinesis and flew towards the Ninetales that had just been seriously injured. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.